What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is kinda BBP. We got three, but we still got another guy who is on the up and coming when it comes to Eagles content creators. Shout out to everybody who's already in the chat, just chopping it up, talking about quarterbacks already. I think that's might be exactly where we go. But before we do that, like I said, I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk Podcast, but this is a little different. We are live on two platforms, the Philly Talk Podcast and also Gate City Sports Channel. But go ahead, introduce yourselves.
Yes, you can go ahead and go. Yeah, it's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Frescoes, Philly the podcast. Yeah, man, I'm excited to fill in for my guy. You know what I'm saying? You guys had to call in the replacements. I'm here for you.
What's good, everybody? How's everybody doing? Steve, Gate City Sports Channel. You already know the place where the cerebral NFL fan comes. Hey, man, there's a whole lot to talk about since the last time we've been on air, guys. You take 2 or 3 weeks off, and the entire organization shifts and changes in Philadelphia. So there's so much to get into. You want me to just throw something up in the air, Mike, and we'll start wherever it lands?
Let's go.
All right, let's just pull the Band-Aid off, man. Let's pull the Band-Aid off. We traded Carson Wentz, a move that I think most of us kind of knew that was coming. Like, even I said, hey, man, this is like a 49% chance by the end of it. I thought it was going to happen. I said there's hurdles to the contract, but I made a video telling you guys the contract was completely tradable. It was just a matter of, you didn't know the owner. I think the sticking point where people don't consider is that Jeffrey Lurie may have given Howie Roseman the green light to trade Carson Wentz, but he may have stipulated it, saying you have to get X amount of value. Carson has to agree to X amount of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't trade them to these teams here. You're not trading them to the Jets or to the Giants, the Cowboys, anything like that. Nothing crazy. You know what I mean? He may even said there's no NFC. We don't know. I don't know exactly what he said. No trading to anybody on the schedule this year. Who knows? I'm pretty sure there were stipulations to it. And then we had the whole media fiasco of Howie Roseman trying to create, let's just be real, he was trying to manufacture interest, right? We know that Chicago had interest, but clearly that got drummed up to be way further than what the truth was. Like, yeah, they were interested. They picked up the phone and was like, yo, Howie, you want a cup of coffee? Let's talk about Carson. But they made, Howie made that seem like they were offering 25 first-round picks for the next 25 years. And, I mean, it was crazy, man. It was a crazy way to kind of end the entire Carson Wentz dilemma that was in Philadelphia. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm really relieved that it's over. I was just tired of the news cycle. I knew it wasn't going to end immediately, but within 2 to 3 weeks, it really should just be business as usual, kind of going in, preparing for the team you have on hand, preparing yourself for free agency, preparing yourself for the draft. So, I mean, that's kind of the way I looked at it, guys. But if you guys want to, after everybody gets done talking, guys, I can break down some of the specifics of the contract and how this is all going to work for you guys. But I'm going to kick it over to Joe and Mike and let them talk a little bit about this craziness that was that trade.
Sure. Now, happy is not the word. Happy that it's over is not even the phrase. I think that says 10% of the joy I'm feeling right now. It needed to be over with. It was just ridiculous. I feel like even during the Super Bowl, we were talking about it. It's the whole Super Bowl and we're trending on Twitter. So it was definitely something that needed to happen. I'm excited that it's done. I'm excited to see what the next move is. I feel like we all maybe thought that, after the trade happened, everything would kind of calm down in Philly. I think we kind of thought that after Doug Peterson got fired, we kind of thought everything would start to slow down and maybe Carson would be happy, and apparently not, and then now that Carson's gone, maybe we all thought, okay, now everything will slow down and everything will be good. Maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Because once we start looking at this draft, who knows where Howie's going to go. So I feel like the carousel is going to only start spinning a little bit quicker, especially now that we get closer to April. So I'm definitely happy that the trade's over. Like you said, I wish I was a fly on the wall, during those trade talks or during whatever meetings they were having prior, because I feel like nobody knows. Everything's contradictory. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. I'm definitely glad it's over, though. I'm definitely glad it's over.
Yeah, and like everybody's saying in the comment section, I know the CW aspect of the Eagles, which is gone. It's gone. So there's only a limited amount of time we're going to spend on him before we legitly move on. Now, there will be talks if you see this guy balling out in Indy, but we got to understand one thing, and I'm going to try to keep it off Carson Wentz, but shout out to you guys. We only been live for 5 minutes. We got 100 people in here, maybe not on one platform, but when you combine Gate City and Philly Talk Podcast, we got 103 people in here. Shout out to you guys. Smash the like button wherever you're watching it. But the Colts are going to offer something different to Carson Wentz that we can't do. A stable offensive line, a top 5 defense. You know, they're not the best receivers, but they got better receiving core right now until we add a receiver, possibly. Like Joe said and like Gates said, we talked backstage a little bit. We don't know where we're going to go with this draft, and it's because that guy right there underneath me, you see him, you know, about to lose his breath. I mean, he shook. But at this point where we sit, you know, the Colts offer Carson Wentz a lot more than what we can, and good luck to him. But let's talk about moving on. Let's talk about some Nick Sirianni, some draft topics, and some Jalen Hurts. There is a big camp that believe in Jalen Hurts, and there's a big camp that says he is not, I repeat, not the guy. So I'm going to put you guys out there early in this offseason. Joe, Gate, is Jalen Hurts the guy for 2021?
Good. Thankfully, I don't get paid to make that decision. But I mean, I think 4 games isn't enough to say he's not. I'll say that much. And I don't think he did anything that would make me say he's definitely not. On the other end, I don't think there's much you can say that he definitely is. You know, and there's a lot more that goes into that conversation. Do I think he can be good next year? Do I think he can play well for this team next year? Yes, that much I do think he can be. I think he can be a starting quarterback. Can he be a franchise? I don't know. I haven't seen enough. So I can't go out on like a limb and be like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna, you know, take us to the promised land in 3 or 4 years. Can't wait to see his next contract. But I can say I think he does maybe deserve a shot to at least compete next year. Even if we do bring somebody in that's going to compete with him, at least give him that chance. I think he deserved at least that much to try and compete for this roster spot and that starting quarterback position. So that's where I am with it. We have to make that decision a little bit quicker though, just because he's not a first round pick. You know, if he was a first round pick, we would be making this decision in 3 years, you know, because we would have that 5th year option. Now, especially how we like to do it, we like to get contracts done a little bit earlier. So you're looking at like 2 years. So I don't know. It expedites everything. This year has to be the year he would have to really prove beyond. But I definitely think he at least deserves a chance to compete for this year.
I'll be very frank about it. Here's the deal.
Wait, Frank Wright or just Frank?
Right.
I'll be very frank about it.
We lost Gate City.
So here's the deal. I think you're going to know everything by the way the first round plays. You're going to know everything about the way the first round plays. I'm going to tell you guys something straightforward, everybody in the audience. It has been over 30 years since we have drafted in the top 15 picks anything outside of offensive line, defensive line, and quarterback. There is not a single defensive lineman going in my opinion, in the top 10. I can't see it. Maybe Quiddy or whatever. Maybe he sneaks in. I don't know. That's a potential one, but outside of that, I doubt it. I don't see it. That leaves you 2 options. And those 2 options tell you a lot of different things. The number one thing is it's going to tell you about belief in Hurts, right? Because if I draft an offensive lineman or if I draft a quarterback, that's completely different stories, isn't it? About what you believe about Jalen Hurts. Because let's be real, guys. They can pay lip service to the fact that there's going to be a quarterback competition. You draft a guy in the top 10, there's no competition. That's all lip service. You just sealed your fate. That's your guy. There's no turning back. Even if it's a 1-year thing, ultimately, you have financially tied yourself. You have exerted so much draft capital at that point. That's your guy. There's just no doubt about it. You'll get an offensive lineman. That's a different story. That means something different. I'll give you another one. Let's say that all of us here, because none of us here want us to pass on Jamar Chase. None of us here want us to pass on a Kyle Pitts. None of us here want us to pass on a Surtain or anyone that can provide skill. But let me lay this out to you guys. And this is the way I look at this stuff, guys. Me and Mike, we were talking about this earlier. Mike and I were. When's the last time you really heard of a wide receiver getting a second contract in Philadelphia? Why would you waste a top 10 pick on a dude that's not going to get a second contract? Mike and I had a long conversation. I think Mike finally came up with one guy that maybe didn't get a second contract from Philly, but Philly did give him a contract, right? Because you can go T.O., you can go with Alshon, right? And say like, well, outside we gave, you know what I'm saying? We took gambles on guys. Both of those kind of exploded in our faces, though, to be quite honest. Pause on that. But Nnamdi Asomugha, right? You can say Nnamdi Asomugha at cornerback. You can say
even Byron Maxwell.
Byron Maxwell.
Crashwell.
You can say what's the dude from the Patriots?
Sante Samuels.
Yeah, Sante Samuel. It just doesn't happen often. We don't give second contracts out to those positions very often. So the likelihood of us going skill position in the top 10 when it's been since 1988 and Keith Jackson that we've done that. Guys, we would be transversing history. I'm not saying that I'm not going to be sitting there as an Eagle fan myself going, please say Pitts, please say Jamar Chase, please say Patrick Surtain, please say anyone who can actually help this football team. Yes, but I know the history, guys. I know the history.
And after we got off the phone, because me and Gate talked a while, we should have just pretty much put our hour-long phone call on an Apple podcast since we've been slacking on the BBP. But when I look at it, yes, we don't give wide receivers or corners second contracts because we don't know how to find them. We can't find you guys. We find you after you've been good on another team, a la the Alshon Jeffries, the T.O.s, the Asante Samuels, the Nnamdi Asomugha, who wasn't good with us, but we had Juan Castillo, an offensive line coach being a DC. So who knows? We don't find these guys. We see them.
Demo, be careful. That's not a good comment, bro. Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin. There's two for you right there.
Yes, and
Riley
they didn't
Cooper.
get it.
We gave Riley Cooper a second contract. Didn't we give Riley Cooper a second contract?
Probably did. It probably did.
I'm pretty sure we did. I'm pretty sure we did.
That would be our exclusion. Riley Cooper. Are you kidding me?
I'm pretty sure we did.
We did.
I don't know why I thought of that.
No, good call. And it was disgusting. But what I'm trying to say is the Eagles will invest in wide receiver and cornerback once we see the talent. But the reason we don't invest in it in the draft is because we don't know how to pick it. When we pick offensive linemen, they work. Whether it be Jeff Stoutland being the goats of all goats at the O-line coach, when we pick quarterbacks, it seemed to work. The Donovan McNabbs, now the Carson Wentz, and no matter what you say about Carson Wentz, he was a success. The dude was a crucial part in a Lombardi that we've been searching for a long time.
BMO, it doesn't go against what I just said. It proves it. The last two guys that were deserving of a second contract did not get it at wide receiver, which was Jeremy Maclin and Deshaun Jackson. Neither of them got the contract from Philly. The only guy that was a guy that was a fifth-round pick, which, to be quite frank, that's a completely different story, man. You're not talking about – you got to remember, we're talking about taking a guy in the top 10 who's going to have a fifth-year option, who's going to make a lot of money if he gets the second contract. That's a completely different story than even Riley Cooper, who was like a fifth-round pick.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to say, like to go back a little bit to the quarterback situation, I do think even if you draft somebody, like let's say, I'm just going to throw a name out there. I'm not saying we will, but let's say we do grab Trey Lance at number 6, right? If we grab Trey Lance, you still have that option of having that open competition, in my opinion, just because you look at a team like Arizona Cardinals and what they did with the Josh Rosen. At the end of the day, if you have the opportunity to put talent out there and let talent win, I don't see a big loss either way. I think if you have a Trey Lance, you might not get to number 6 again, but you can still get the first round pick. And I think like if you go a year and say, damn, we had to jump down to number 16 now because we had to trade Trey Lance to the number 16 team that needs a quarterback or whoever it may be, I think it's worth it. You just found yourself a franchise quarterback, or you know what I'm saying? You know who your quarterback is. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying it's what they need to do. I'm just saying it's kind of a thought as well. Maybe I feel like this is it for Howie. So he's got to start thinking outside of his own box. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hoping at least. I'm hoping. That's where I'm at right now.
Let me just say where I'm at. And where I'm at, and where Howie Roseman's at are two probably totally different destinations. But let me just say this. To me, I said this in the video, I said this on the live stream, I'm gonna say it one more time. Jalen Hurts wasn't the total demise of Carson Wentz, but once you put the pen to paper and say, this is our guy, we're about to pay him money. At the time we paid him, he was the highest paid before the Pat Mahomes and the Deshaun Watsons and then whoever. I don't know if Jared Goff was before or after. I don't know. I don't care. But when you do that, you got to do more for him. Odell Beckham wasn't successful in Cleveland, but they got him a Odell. They got Baker and Odell. They got Kyler Murray a Hopkins. They got Josh Allen a Diggs. And you can do much more than just get a dominant receiver. You can build around them. He could be more in part of your decision making. You can legitimately do that. And I think we were trying, but what stopped it was in a draft after coming off a incredible December. Say what you want about the opponent. Say what you want about him. He did his thing. He got hurt. It is what it is. But football is about momentum on the field, and it's about momentum in the offseason. Bro, it's a sport where you got to get up. People play hype music. They got guys who go in the locker room who get people hyped up. And after what Carson Wentz showed, for you to go ahead and draft Jalen Hurts in the second round, said, huh? Are you really betting against him? Are you saying, even if you believe in a talent and you're only saying this guy can't stay healthy, that's still a knock on him, even if it's a knock. When you put the pen to paper, you gotta be about that. You don't shake somebody's hand and then second guess it. You make your deal, you lie in it. So the NFL, hold on, I want to say this. The NFL says we talk about quarterback factory and having a good backup, but let's be realistic. Every team that can compete for a Lombardi, if their starting quarterback goes down, they're not winning it. Yes, the Eagles changed the script with winning the Super Bowl with a backup, but that's not happening. If Tom Brady goes down, the backup for the Bucs will not win. If Pat Mahomes goes down, the Bucs, they won't win. If Aaron Rodgers goes down, I know Jordan's love there, but they probably won't win. So I understand having somebody who can keep the float running, but you got to invest in your guy. So real quick, I'm going to say, you put all that on Jalen Hurts when you drafted him. Now our franchise quarterback, if you believe it or not, is gone. And you're not going to even think about giving him a chance after 4 games, good, bad, ugly, sad. I believe you got to, because the guy underneath me will be admitting he made the biggest mistake if he doesn't go Jalen Hurts. And now people can say he was a gadget guy when we picked him and all that good stuff. We drafted him to be a backup. We got to see. To me, one thing Philly lacks is blue chip players. And we have a chance. The skill players in this top 10 are all blue chip players. You got to get one of these guys, whether 2-3 years, it's Jalen Hurts playing with him, or it's bloody blue blah playing with him. You got to get the blue chip player now. Worry about the quarterback later, because we're not a quarterback away from winning. So what I'll ask you is this, Mike, because I think there's a couple things at play when you analyze the draft. Number one, if we transverse 30 years of history, over 30 years of draft history, I think that shows that Nick Sirianni's got some control. He's got some control, because that would be very much outside of a Howie pick. I also think it would probably show that the scouting department and the coaches are a little in unison with one another if you go outside of that. But the flip side is if we don't transverse 30 plus years of history, you're probably not getting Penei Sewell unless you trade up. I would love it if he fell to 6. That would be a dream scenario. So then you're also going to take like probably the second, potentially the third, because, you know, it just depends, because dudes will mix up what they believe to be the second to the third to the fourth. Like, teams can start really playing around with the draft board when it comes to past your number 1 offensive tackle. That can really vary. Here's my question, though, Mike. You can look at a guy and say that they're an upgrade. And I agree with what you're saying, which is like, hey, you know, you can build the team around the quarterback. And like, you had Brad Johnson. They did pretty good with him as a quarterback. That dude was like 29th in the league. The dude was not worth a crap. 28 other teams, he'd have been sitting the bench, right? Trent Dilfer. How long did Trent Dilfer last in this league? Like, he got cut, was not even nowhere near top 20.
That man won a Super Bowl and got cut.
Exactly. Like, you can win Super Bowls with guys that are not Patrick Mahomes, that are not Russell Wilson, but you have to have a special type of team. The way you get that special type of team is by building the talent around the team, right? My question is I'm also not a fool. I know that most of the time you win it with really talented quarterbacks. I get that. But if you take a quarterback in the top 10, you better tell me that in 2 to 3 years, you believe that guy's a top 10 quarterback in this league, because you can't just go get a guy that's incrementally better. Like, oh, well, we feel like Jalen's here. We feel this dude's here. Like, no, you have to say, I feel this dude is here. Like,
yeah, you got to fall in love. You have to fall in love with whatever prospect you take, especially at number 6. But and my thing with that, like I even said off of the thing, if they were to go quarterback, it is what it is. You just have to fall in love with that. It has to be like that Donovan McNabb type connection. It has to be that Carson Wentz type of connection. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You're just down to give up what you got to give up because you know he could be the future. But like my thing, just to kind of circle back real quick. I know I have like the most unpopular opinion about this, but like I really feel like if Carson, and I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. But I feel like if Carson Wentz is really that affected by us taking a second-round quarterback after you just got, like you said, we're the highest-paid quarterback in it for a time period in the NFL, I think that says more about the person than it does just the franchise. Don't get me wrong. It's a bad pick. It will always be a bad pick.
Yeah.
But I think that says more of a competitor or of a athlete than it does more so of a man named Howie Roseman. That's kind of where I stand on that.
Kevin, Kevin, we're gonna get to your super chats, man.
Yeah, I wanted to get to that, and then I also want to touch on Philly Fresco's thing, and I agree, but I'm gonna come at it a different way. But shout out to my guy Kevin Bacon with the 4. I repeat, $4.99 super chat. Wait, so Wentz broke records in 2019 with the same nobodies. Folks make an excuse for him in 2020. Somebody make it make sense, please and thank you. I agree. When you look at Carson Wentz, you gotta look at two things. What he was able to do in 19, he didn't replicate in 2020. But also, the same nobodies, it was a different team, because sometimes you got nobodies as the wide receivers, but the most important thing is the offensive line, and we were able to still to keep a decently sturdy offensive line in front of him, which was able to allow him to build up guys like Rob Davis and Deontay Burnett. Look, I'm not going to continue to make excuses for him because he's gone. Here's my whole take has always been, he was horrible in 2020, but I believe the talent's there. And to Joe's point, I agree. Quarterbacks have egos. Quarterbacks have this. And I think in his head, Carson should have been upset with the pick, but it shouldn't have affected his play as much as it did. And that's letting the inner demons, the outside world too much in. I'm confident if a guy talks to my wife and says, hey, you're beautiful, I'm confident enough my wife's going to say, no, I got a husband. She better, first of all. So I'm confident in what I do in my life, whether it's work, whether it's girl, whether it's anything. And if Carson was playing at 2017 or even at the end of 2019, he shouldn't have to be worried about nothing. But I will say, you also got to say, hey, Howie, I want to be better. How did that pick make me and the team better if he's not going to play? So I understand both sides, but as a competitor, you should never let nothing deter you. A la different teams, different circumstances, but Jordan Love was not only drafted in the first round over the second round, but that Packers team moved up to get Jordan Love. And what did A-Rod said? Hold my beer. I got you. NFC Championship. Exactly. I'm not Tom Brady. Can't get to the Super Bowl, but it's enough. You know what I mean? Real quick. But shout out to Kevin Bacon again, because he did drop another super chat. He said, bang, whatever happened to developing a guy? And I agree.
Man, it's changed. You just don't sit quarterbacks anymore, man. You just don't sit them for 2 or 3 years behind another guy. Like it's plug and play now in the league. Some of that has to do with the fact that the college systems are becoming more complex. So you're not having as far as a leap between college and the pros anymore as it once was. There's still one. There's still a leap. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as drastic as it once was.
Let me just say this, because I saw Jalen Williams say this earlier, and I know it's going to get your feathers in a ruffle. He said he don't think Penny Swole, I can never say his last name. He don't think he's a top 10 pick. What is your take on that? And this is coming from the college offensive line, who we bring Jalen Williams on here to break down offensive line. He says he's not even a top 10 pick.
I think, well, I mean, I guess it depends on what he means by that statement. Does he mean he thinks he's going to fall out of the top 10, or he doesn't think he's a top 10 talent? I would need him to clarify what he means by that. I definitely think he's a top 10 pick. I think he's going to get picked in the top 10 picks.
So do I. That's why I wanted that stuck with me. And hey, Jalen, we're not coming after you because you are a guy. I just want you to elaborate on that for us.
Yeah. But I was going to add on to what you were saying, Mike, which is I think it's more complex, and I think it has to do with a lot of things. Number one, Carson didn't work on his footwork. He didn't work on his footwork enough in the offseason. Like a lot of the same problems that reared their head his rookie season, they came back, and it came back like with a vengeance. Like it was even worse. And I think the one thing we got to consider that even his rookie season, he was still working out for the combine, right? Then you got him inside of rookie camp. You got him in OTAs, right? Look at what happened this year. You know, he has a kid. You know, he finally has a kid. You know, congrats to him and his family for all that. But I just don't. I don't think he spent the appropriate amount of time shoring it up, because other dudes that had the same exact problem didn't look like that. And it's a common problem with really tall quarterbacks. The taller you are, and the more you really try to get, you know, that mustard behind the football, the more likely you are to overstride. You know, when you're pigeon-toeing and it's getting that bad as we saw last season, his shoulder work was all off, man, with the throwing motion. Like, to me, that just means you didn't work enough in the offseason. Like, I think I just got to copy someone, you know, Max. When I was talking to Max said it best, which is, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's on you in the offseason to really put the things in place to set you up for success in the season. And I mean, it just didn't look like it was there to me. I mean, if we're just being truthful, it didn't look like it was there to me. I think that's why you got such a drastic difference between the play in 2019 to the play in 2020.
Yeah, especially when you're putting on weight like you did. I mean, you put on like what, 20, 30 extra pounds. I mean, you can't, you know, he looked like he came from a pregnancy, but no, I mean, you can't do that and not readjust, you know. Shout out, I'm sure you guys see him in your chat all the time too, but Infamous 2K came on one of our call-ins and said it, and it always like stuck in my head just the way he said it. But you got to readjust your jump shot when you put on, you know, weight. When you change your body in any type of way, you got to readjust how your body's going to react to it. And, you know, to your point, he didn't do that. He didn't, you know, put in the extra work that he had to in the offseason. So, I mean, it showed. It is what it is. I mean, and I feel like the overriding factor, which a lot of people get lost in, is like we look for what brought us here, but like now that we're here, like it was Carson didn't want to be here. That was like the overriding thing. That was the end of the story. There was no, you know, nobody got into an argument that made it happen out of nowhere. Like he just did not want to be here. That was his decision going into this offseason. And I feel like that's clear now. Like, I mean, the man was on FaceTime 20 minutes later, you know, and hoo-hoo, and like.
Hey, I want to say this though, just to end the Carson Wentz talk, because I know people will probably like every time he say his name, it's like it isn't not. But I had Rob Motti on the channel yesterday. Shout out to Rob Motti, cool dude. And I asked him, as a beat writer, as a guy who actually interviewed and talked to Carson Wentz one-on-one, a guy who has a chance to talk to the other players, do you think it was overblown, all the locker room cancer stuff, or do you think it was more legit? And he said it was, to him, it was overblown. He believes that Carson could have been better as a leader. He could have been more relatable. He's a shy guy, kind of keeps to himself. But at the end of the day, he believes Carson still did what it took to be not called a locker room cancer. He believes it's just that one guy at the, you know, out of 53 who's willing to talk, and the guy's willing to listen and report it. And it's an anonymous source because you can't tell it. And it's only one out of the 53. It's not half. He said Jason Kelce has been one of the most honest guys he ever met, from truth telling to not, and he comes out multiple times defending Carson. So I just want to say that. Shout out to my guy Rob Motti. And to me, it's like, I still don't understand how we got here. Like I said, you know, you look 3 years ago, we're hosting a Lombardi, you know, we're good. Howie's making all the right moves. It was Howie doing lately, like Howie was getting trades done, and it's just been a whole mess of problems. Me and Gate City talked about this. We invested as if we were going to be a dynasty. We put in the money to sign the guys like JP, to keep an Alshon, to go out and acquire a Deshaun Jackson, to bring in a Hargrave, and to bring in a big play Slay, and even years before, and a couple years before that, we spent the money to keep the Super Bowl window open. And between a little bit of bad coaching, a little bit of injury, a lot of bit of injury, and just wrong acquisitions, wrong spending money on the guys who you thought can continue success, who didn't have success, whether they're on the field not having success or just off the field. We missed our window. Now, I'm not saying that in a couple years we can't get back there, because football is a strange game, because how the draft works, a team can turn around quickly, but it starts with the draft. Free agency is an open bid. You got 31 teams bidding on a player. Now, certain teams don't need that player, so they're not in the bidding war, but you're always going to kind of overspend in free agency. It's, because you got people trying to get that same player. If you want him, you got to get the best offer or be in the best situation. Some people will take less money to go to a winning situation. But we've been trying to build our team through free agency and not the draft. You have to draft well and sprinkle it in with free agency. We're doing the opposite, and that's why we sit with no Lombardi after the 2017/18 season, and window close, we have to recoup money. So listen, a guy like Fletcher, a guy like Lane, a guy like Brandon Brooks, a guy like Brandon Graham, even Javon Hargrave, you are going to really consider age and money in this offseason, especially if Jalen Hurts comes out and we win the first 4 games. I think that changes the mind. But if we are a 500 or less team by the deadline, as me and Gate talked about on a phone call, you got to start shopping everyone who is 30 and making money, 29 and making money. Because if we're under 500, and maybe you think 2022 is the lucky number, but if we are going to rebuild, even if it's 2 or 3 years, we could be competitive, but still rebuilding. You can't have a guy making as much money as Lane, Fletch, Brandon, if you're only going to possibly make the playoffs. And then by the time we actually can compete, I'm ready to retire. Thank you for the paycheck. So you got to look at the best interest of the Eagle logo, the organization, not Howie. He's part of it, but not him. You got to look at that, and it's going to hurt people's feelings. I hate coming into a football season like we might not make the playoffs. I want to win every game. I'm a competitor. We don't know. I mean, we're fans.
If you look at what happened since we got Doug, right? I feel like one of the things that gets overshadowed by all the drama that's happened is that we have been one of the most injured teams in the NFL over that span. And it has been consistent. You know what I'm saying? So we might, and I think we said it, off of camera, but we might go into the season actually be healthy and actually be a good team. We don't know what we have. We talk about all these offseason acquisitions, all these failed draft picks, which some of them did fail. Some of them are outright failures, but some of them just haven't seen the field. Some of our acquisitions just haven't seen the field. We could talk about Jalen Reagor not getting to play much in his rookie year. We could talk about Malik Jackson coming from the Jaguars, having a fully clean bill of health. And first game he plays with the Eagles, he's out for the season. So it's I'm not saying, something's in the water, but at some point you got to really sit back and just be like, everything went wrong. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Everything might click. You know what I mean? I feel like when Doug first got here, we weren't necessarily the most talented team. And even when we won the Super Bowl, I don't think we were the most talented overall team. I think everything just came together. It clicked. We all played well together. So that might happen again. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, it might be a quick turnaround. So that's what I'm hoping for, at least. Shoot, that's what I think we all hoping for.
Hey, Gay, I want you to take the super chat real quick. Go ahead and
all right,
read
what's
it.
up, Eagle? What's going on, buddy? Out of all the quarterbacks, after the number one is, I'm assuming you're saying, is Hurts better? Here's what I'll say. No, he's not. He's not. There's a reason why. There's a reason why he was the 53rd pick, and the Eagles were one of maybe 1 or 2 teams that had him graded anywhere near that. But this is what I'll say. You're talking about, you have to talk about where's the line? Where is there clear-cut better players, and where's there just incremental upgrades? That's the difference to me, because if you're talking about incrementally upgrading something at the quarterback position, don't mess with it. Just stop. It's too expensive. You're going to lose picks if you have to trade up. Like, just let it be. Just let it be. I think that this system will simplify things to make Hurts successful. I don't think that you know what I'm saying? I don't think that unless you can get a stud, I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think the play is going to improve that much. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I look at it. Now, if you're asking me where that dividing line is, I think it's argumentative. I think it's very argumentative. For some people, they might just say that's only Trevor Lawrence. Everybody else may be better, but it's just incrementally better. They're not like clear cut, head and shoulders above Jalen Hurts. For some people, they might say that it's Trevor Lawrence, it's Zach Wilson, and it's the top three basically, and it's Justin Fields. To me, I think Justin Fields is better. I wouldn't call him that much better though. I think he's better.
Give your stance on Lance. Give your stance on Trey Lance.
Bars.
All right, you guys, this is going to be good. All right, Joe, don't try to come through the screen, bro. I'm trying to come through the screen, man. All right, Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance is the biggest risk in this entire draft. I think he has the biggest potential to be a bust, and he might also be the best player in this entire draft in the same breath. That's the honest to God truth. If you're judging a dude playing in shorts on the practice field, throwing throws, nobody is better than this guy. Straightforward. Not even Trevor. Not even Trevor. I'm telling you, as a quarterback, Trevor Lawrence is not in the same conversation. But here's the problem. When you go out there on Sundays, you're not playing in shorts. The other dudes come and pop you in the face, and you got to be able to get through NFL level progressions, and you need to have cleaner footwork. I think he is the greatest risk in this draft because there's been a lot of dudes that looked really good working out in shorts that when they got to the NFL level, it didn't work out. And I think that's where you're at with a guy like Trey Lance is that it's a risk. Like, you are taking a huge gamble. It may pay off. By the way, do you know who else was a huge gamble? Patrick Mahomes. Not everybody saw Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes. Some dude straight up said that it was ridiculous for that dude to be anywhere near the top 12 picks. He should be in the back end of the first round, early second.
Andy Reid got looked at sideways for moving up to get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we've said it before. You can scheme anything you can be great with a good quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like that I think you can do. But I like Trey Lance. I mean, I definitely agree. He has a major bust factor. He definitely cannot be good. That's a very good possibility. But I mean, all those things that you say about him are things we could have said about Carson. Because I honestly, this guy is. I'll go out on a limb and say I feel like he's a better prospect right now than Carson Wentz was coming into the draft. In my opinion,
I think he has as good as Carson Wentz's arm is, and I don't have the velocity reading, guys. He might throw the football, they might do the velocity reading. I could be completely wrong. Judging from the film, Carson had a really good arm. I think Trey Lance's is better.
I'll say it's close. I'll say it's close. There were some throws that I'm sure there are for every quarterback that they want back, but there are, like, especially on the deep throws, I don't think he's as just let him go, rocket type of arm that Carson has, but he's a way better decision maker. He's almost boring. Like he reminds me of a little bit, I don't want to say a lot, but he kind of reminds me of like a McNabb. Like he's not flashy when it comes to anything. He's a very good runner. He's a very big guy, and he's boring when it comes to decision making. He's not going to mess anything up too much. That's at least where I was seeing.
Yeah. He had a couple of situations where they were doing it was definitely like some zone option kind of stuff and some read stuff to where he made a really bad read. There was a couple of plays in particular I saw him do that. There was like, what are you doing? And the receiver made him look really good, to be quite honest. But I will tell you this, his footwork is ugly, man. Like I was watching one of his games and I was watching him drop back and I was like, oh my God, this dude's going to trip over his own feet. This dude's going to seriously trip over his own feet. And luckily he didn't, but there were times where I was like, this is a kid that's just good at football. This doesn't strike me. Like I watch film on certain guys and I can tell right away, like I'll give you, Mike, you brought up a guy, UNC. I hate UNC, but Hal from UNC, that dude's he's been in football camp since he was probably like 5 years old. You can tell his footwork is beautiful. It's
fundamental.
Beautiful. Yeah. The way he plays the position is unlike anything, but Trey Lance it's just gifts. It's just physical gifts. And if you can take the physical gifts and pair it with adequate coaching, it could be something. But I gotta throw Max in there because he's played it at a much higher level to me, although I got more coaching experience on Max. But Max said something to me where he was like, we were talking off camera and he was like, Gate, I'm going to tell you the truth. He didn't say Gate, he said Steve, but still. He said, I'm going to tell you the truth. He said, generally speaking, you kind of are what you are by the time you jump to the NFL.
He said that on camera too. He said that multiple times on camera. Yeah.
So like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I think it's incredibly risky, but the worst part about football, like judging quarterbacks, is that like receivers, there are certain stats you can look at receivers, and there's a pretty good correlation between looking at advanced analytics, going back and reviewing the film and projecting if they're going to be successful in the NFL. Okay. Generally speaking, with receivers, if you produce when you're young, like your freshman and sophomore year, it translates very well to playing well in the NFL. I don't know why it is. It just does. It does. It translates. When it comes to judging quarterbacks, man, you kind of have to look at the contested throw rate. But the problem is if you're looking at contested throw rates, then you have to really dig into the film and make sure that are they just having guys that don't separate and are throwing guys open, or is this dude not seeing the field and getting away with arm talent?
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like quarterbacks are a lot harder to judge. They are.
And that's why you can miss on them, a la, Johnny Manziel. There's been a couple guys who came in and just got missed on. But real quick, shout out to Kevin Bacon again with the one.
Bobby, Patrick Mahomes was a small school quarterback. I'm not taking a dude off of the board because of what's on the helmet.
Yeah,
like
facts.
Carson Wentz went to the same damn school.
It's what's behind the helmet. Yeah. But look, shout out to Kevin Bacon. I think Gate, we got to stop the Trey Lance because now you got a guy like Kevin Bacon saying, so what y'all saying? Move up for Lance?
No, God, no. Please don't do that. God, no, don't do that.
Don't move up. That's the only way. I have talked myself into accepting a quarterback at 6, but I will be royally pissed if we move up for anybody. We are not in the position right now to move up for anybody.
We got 101 problems in quarterbacks 1.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Come on, man. Like, we got a young guy that needs a lot of practice. He needs a lot of work.
There's not even 100 players on the team though.
Hey, they're all twice as bad though. They're all
but Mike, you got to count how many guys we're going to go through on the practice squad. How many guys get injured? Because we're going to have like 40 late season signings after the entire roster goes down with injuries. Like, I mean, it's crazy to me. Like, you listen. Yes, if you got a guy, if your coach is telling you, right, and your scouts are telling you this dude is a top 10 quarterback, he will be a top 10 quarterback in this league, then you make the pick. If they say, the minute they say, or
it's over.
Or could be, no, take the layup. Just take the layup. Don't go for the dunk. Lay the ball up. Just lay it up, man.
Nowadays, it's the fast break 3, but don't do that. Just take the layup. Like you said, if you have to second guess somebody, it's not a top 10 pick, especially at that position. But real quick, he's going to put us all on the spot. Some guy with the $5 donation. Shout out to my guy. Not my guy, just some guy. He says, time's up. We're on the clock with the number 6 pick. Which quarterback are you picking? Not named Trevor. Now, he's saying, now we're going to name quarterbacks, but we're not saying we're going to pick a quarterback. He's asking us if we did pick a quarterback and we can pick anybody not named Trevor Lawrence. All 3 of us got to answer, starting with Joe.
Oh my God. I just got a phone call. I'm going to have to come. No, I'm just kidding. Man, that's hard. If I'm being honest, like, who do I like most? I'll probably say Zach Wilson. If I had to pick out of them, and mostly because, honestly, I don't like Justin Fields. I'm a Penn State fan. I hate watching Justin Fields. So that's maybe that's why. But, but realistically, how do I feel about Sam Howell? He's not.
No, that's how I feel about Sam Howell.
I was about to say, he's not.
Yeah, I'm an NC State guy. I hate Carolina. Like,
Sam Howell's supposed to be like a top 2 quarterback next year too.
You're almost as bad as Duke. Let's see if Charles is in here.
Yeah, but no, I would probably go Zach Wilson. I like what I see on. I think he's one of those guys that's just very fundamentally sound. You're not going to be working on him. I feel like you'll be working on the team. You know what I'm saying? If you pick him, I think somebody like Trey Lance, maybe even a Justin Fields, I feel like you have to, one, cater your offense to what they do, and two, you have to develop them still. They're still not, fundamentally where they need to be. So I feel like at least Wilson is kind of fundamentally where he should be. It'll be just maintaining him there, but that's how I feel about it. I'll go Zach Wilson.
Go ahead, Gate. Quarterback, if we're taking one, not named Trevor Lawrence.
All right, I'll give you guys. Jones. I don't want to just follow up and just keep saying Zach Wilson. It's going to be boring.
Let me go first. I say Zach Wilson. I say Zach Wilson. I don't want to.
All right. All right. I would probably say the same thing, guys, but let me make it interesting. The issue with Zach Wilson is this: you're going off of 1 year of real production because his other 2 years, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. If you want the talent guy, you go Trey Lance. If you want the guy that was probably since high school, the biggest of these guys, the biggest recruit, the guy with the long, you know what I'm saying? The guy who's had the name, if you're looking for that name appeal, then you're going Justin Fields. If you're going scheme fit, that's, I think, where it gets interesting. Do you guys think that? Do you guys think that Trey Lance? Do you think Trey Lance is a scheme fit? Do you think that Justin Fields? Do you think Justin Fields is a scheme fit?
It's very possible. I think you could. I think those are two people that you can build around. You could build the scheme around. It's very possible, but I don't know what our scheme's really going to be. I mean, do they want a mobile guy? I don't know. That's a very good question. He's had almost every type of quarterback you could have in these past 3 years, so it'll be interesting to see what he actually lands on it. Because if you do want something like Justin Fields or Trey Lance, you can make the argument you got that light version in Jalen Hurts, even if you don't think he has the ceiling that those two might have. He's the same kind of thing, in my opinion. You're still gonna have to develop their footwork and
our RPOs. I will say this: he runs a lot of he knows zone option. He runs a lot of RPOs. If you're going to come and you're going to play in anything that comes from the Frank Reich tree, you're going to run RPOs. So in that stance, I would say like a Justin Fields makes sense. Here's my thing. I see Justin Fields as a slightly more gifted arm talent than Jalen Hurts. I don't know that. I could be wrong, guys. I could be completely wrong about this. Justin Fields might turn out to be the next big thing. I don't know, but
I like him.
I don't think that he's like. I think he's better than Jalen Hurts, but I don't think that he's like head and shoulders. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think like he's like go spend a top 10 pick in the draft when you already got a guy. You know what I'm saying, on your roster that kind of gives you some of the same exact qualities. I don't know, man. That's where I would stand with that. Trey Lance has a lot of upside. Like I said, it's huge risk. You take Trey Lance, you better be certain that dude's going to be a top 10 quarterback. Because if he turns out to be a really talented version of Carson Wentz, but worse with his footwork, my God, this town will eat him alive.
Yeah, and shout out to Philly Fresco, North Dakota. Why does North Dakota State quarterbacks fumble like that? Like, what's going on in that school? But
I'll say for Trey Lance, he ran it like almost 200 times, so it kind of makes it. He lost it. He'd only lost one fumble, and I think he fumbled it like 5 times. So I mean, it's not that much in comparison, but it is still a lot. Like that's something to worry about.
Real quick, let's get these super chats out the way, and then I got a question for Gate. Who Gate got, when I got like, oh, hold up, I thought he was gonna say something, but he didn't, and I want to ask him about Mac Jones, not necessarily for the Eagles.
Come on, bro.
Not necessarily for the Eagles, but as a quarterback. But real quick, shout out to my guy, Talked It Up with Tonda Shields II with the 199 super chat. He said, I pray the football gods that we don't draft a quarterback. Shout out to my guy, Chalk It Up. Listen, if you love Eagles content, and there's so many Eagles content creators, but we are a tight-knit family, go check my guy out. Watch a video. If you like it, you know what to do. Why are you here? Because you're subscribed most likely to either me or Gates. So hit that button if you like it. And real quick, before we get to the next one, we got 294 people in here watching. Almost 300 on a Saturday, 6 o'clock. Appreciate you guys. Now, if you're looking at the chat and you're like, why is Mike lying? There's not 291. We are live on 2 platforms. We are live on 2 platforms. Gate City Sports Channel, my guy underneath me, and the Philly Talk Podcast. Next time we will be live on 3 because I'm gonna get my guy Philly Fresco we're going to put on his as well. So listen, at the end of the day, we got 292 in here now. Somebody left. I'm talking too much, I guess. Smash the like button wherever you're watching it. We appreciate you guys a lot. Y'all the reason we do this. Yeah. We love you.
Mears flat. I agree with that opinion. He does remind me of exactly that.
I don't know what he said, but I had to co-sign
Justin Fields to Cap comparison. Yes, I absolutely agree. And there was someone that was saying that they feel Hurts has a better arm than Justin Fields. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
You just shut that down ASAP.
Yeah, no, it's not even close.
Yeah. Who has a better arm than who?
They thought that Jalen Hurts had a better arm than Justin Fields. Nah. Nah. He's accurate. He's accurate. I'll give Jalen Hurts this. He throws a nice ball with touch. He throws a nice ball with touch, but he doesn't have a big arm.
Nah.
There you go. Real quick, like I said, shout out to my guy Evil Eagle with the 199 super chat. He said, Gate, does leadership matter in quarterbacks?
Evil Eagle, yes. Yes, it does.
That's the position of leadership.
Yeah. Like I think it look. Could Evil Eagle, could you make the case that maybe sometimes we overstate the importance of it? Sure. I mean, your quarterback doesn't have to necessarily be like the dude, but he has to be the dude when you get on the field, if that makes sense. Like he doesn't have to be the dude necessarily in the locker room, but he does need to be the dude when you're on the field offensively.
Right.
In terms of like, should leadership supersede talent? That's a good question. I don't have the answer for. I don't like. I think there's a trade-off, and I think there's a nice like middle ground between where leadership and talent should kind of come together, right? You don't want to just be like, oh man, look at this dude. This dude could just flick his wrist and throw the ball 90 yards. Like, cool, that's great. No one wants to play with this dude, so everyone stops running at 40. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's different.
And real quick, and real quick, that's where I think Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady differ. Let me just say this: Aaron Rodgers, when you do the eye test, I'm talking physical talent, being able to make every throw. Now, Pat Mahomes coming in there, but let's stick with the old heads for a little bit. Physical, watching the game, Aaron Rodgers is more gifted of a thrower. But who's the better quarterback? Tom Brady. And that buckles back to leadership. You know what I mean? The way Tom Brady just expects excellence from you guys, from whoever he's playing with. I mean, if Tom Brady was on this podcast, we would be better somehow, some way. He would make us better. You know what I mean? I probably wouldn't be stuttering as much. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a difference. Look, Tom Brady's 43 years old. He's still able to make passes, but he's not like the wow. Did you see that? No, but he gets it done from the leadership standpoint. And here's the thing. Let's circle back to the Eagles Super Bowl. Nick Foles wasn't super talented, but what he did them 2 games is he made these guys believe. Y'all watch Space Jam. He gave them the Michael Jordan secret drink. Who the heck is Corey Clement? Who the heck is Alshon Jeffrey when it comes to a torn rotator cuff catching these balls? Why is, these players played above their name for that game? It wasn't just Nick Foles. It was a bunch of things. Trey Burton, a high school quarterback, threw a dot to Nick Foles. There were just so many things that went into it that, my God, and leadership at that position, the guy who touches the ball every play, the guy who says, hey, keep your head up, just something that little in a huddle can go a long way.
All right, Mike, you were going to ask me about Mac Jones. What do you want to know, man?
I know he gets forgotten when it comes to all the quarterbacks, and I know you made a video about him talking about if he gets the right scheme fit, he can be successful. What is the scheme fit he needs, and if he gets it, how successful do you think he could be compared to the other quarterbacks?
I'll be honest with you. He's a good scheme fit for Philly. He is. I'm not touching that dude anywhere unless you're getting to the back half of the first round, somewhere like that. I think is where his real value is. The guy is accurate, man. He is very accurate. I could not adequately judge his arm strength because he would drop teardrops on some go routes just over the receiver's shoulder. I mean, perfect teardrop, boom. But then I would watch a clip to where he would be running it would be like something like a quick out, right? But it would be on the opposite hash. to where like he's throwing to like the field side, and you'd be like, dude, you need to put more mustard on that football, bro. That was a dangerous throw. Like, what are you doing? And it was just hard, man, because I think that I hate the comparison they gave him because they gave him the death sentence. Did you hear who Mel Kiper gave him the comparison to?
I didn't.
You already said his name.
Tom Brady?
Tom Brady. That is a death sentence for yes. That is a death
he's
sentence.
trash. He's trash now.
Like, that's a death sentence, and that wasn't fair. I tiptoed around it. I said he's like a combination of like Daniel Jones and like Alex Smith. He doesn't have Daniel Jones's arm talent. I think Daniel Jones has a better arm. He's got more of an Alex Smith type arm. He's accurate like Alex Smith, but he's more mobile. He's a little more athletic than what people think. So he's kind of the guy that has that awkward athleticism of a Daniel Jones, but the dude's not breaking you down off the ball. He's not going to make you look like Jalen Hurts is doing to defenders out on the perimeter. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to make you look like that. But I don't know, Mike. I mean, what would you think if you're sitting there and the Eagles traded back up into the first round and that's the dude they took?
I'll cry. I'll quit.
He said I would cry.
I'll be a grown man crying on the camera. Like, it is what it is. Real quick, I got a question for you guys then too, but shout out to my guy. Some guy said, with the $2 donation, appreciate you, my guy. Taking a quarterback in the first round means Jalen out. What is y'all take on that? Go ahead, Joe. Do you think if we take a quarterback, do you think Jalen's out, or do you think it's more of a competition thing?
I would assume that it would be competition because I mean we have to get another quarterback either way. And I've read a report somewhere, I don't know how true it is, that they're looking at getting 2 quarterbacks this offseason either way, whether it be one in the draft and one in free agency, however it may play out. But you have to have quarterbacks. So like we only have Jalen Hurts right now. So at some point you have to bring in somebody. So do you just bring in some nobody that you know is probably not going to win the job, or do you bring in some competition? It makes more sense to probably bring in competition, right? And we're in the position that we can't really pay people.
Joe,
and go ahead.
Do you remember the nightmare scenario I presented to you on your channel about quarterbacks?
That we draft back?
We would trade away Carson Wentz and he would ball out. And then we would do what in the first round?
Go get Mac.
Remember? We would draft a quarterback, insert that guy in to be the starter. He would struggle. Jalen would come in and start looking good. And now we're in this nightmare scenario where we spend a top 10 pick on a quarterback that doesn't look like he has the talent to play in the NFL. But now you're stuck into this contract. We're all the way back into this entire situation again. It's risky, man. It's really risky, guys. Like,
the other side of that risk is that you wait, that you keep a hold of Hurts and you hope that he's the guy. You find out he's not mid-season. Then you're finding yourself in the next year that you have to trade up. So you're basically just losing that draft pick that you got from the Wentz trade to go trade up and try and get more assets to get in the top 5 to try and get a quarterback. Or we're just completely terrible. And the whole there's risks everywhere. There's risks everywhere, I feel like.
Yeah. If it was me personally, I'll just lay my cards on the table. If it was me personally, unless my coach and my scouts told me this dude is a top 10 quarterback, I'm not doing it in the first round. I'm just not going to do it because I feel like it's way more important. We have way too many holes to fill. Pause. On this roster, that you know what I'm saying, then to like sit there and play around with the quarterback position if you don't believe that guy's a top 10 talent. Because the only way you're selling me, that's the only way you're selling me on making that pick. Because there's just too many, you take a quarterback at 6, the guy can't just be good. He has to be next level good. He's got to be top 10. I feel like you can sign a veteran. I think, Mike, were you the one that brought up the Tyrod Taylor?
We talked about that on the phone.
Yeah. Tyrod Taylor makes a lot of sense to me because he's played in San Diego. He's played in the scheme. He also played in Buffalo for a little while. Like, let me tell you the truth, guys. No one remembers this, but like when you look at Nick Sirianni, he started underneath Brian Dable, to believe it or not. That's where he started. So he's got a mix of Brian Dable, Ken Wisenhunt, and Frank Reich to him. That's the coaching tree from which he's come from. I think you get a Tyrod Taylor, you go get a Jacoby Brissett, but it's all about the money, guys. It's how much money it's going to cost us, right? You insert them to compete with Jalen Hurts. So that way, if Jalen Hurts just does not look like he can get this offense down. At least you got a veteran guy that can carry you for a year, right?
Correct.
You got a bridge guy for a year. And then I would draft a guy. I would draft a prospect to develop.
Later.
Kellen Mond. I mean, look, none of these guys are going to excite you. You know, you're not going to beat the table for these guys, but like, there's good mid-tier quarterbacks in this draft, to be honest with you. We don't have to go out there and go get another Northwestern quarterback who ends up looking like a straight scrub. And for God knows what reason Dallas signs him. I guess they thought they could get intel. We ain't got to do that this year. Like there's actual dudes out there that have arm talent that you could potentially develop. You got Brian Johnson here, who's was a big name in college, was a guy that looked like he was going to be a head coach in a college, with a college gig here. Like, try to develop somebody, man. Like, and then if it doesn't work, at least you got a rookie contract. You got a dude's got at least a year in your system behind them, right? You still have a veteran on your roster. So if you can't get the guy you want it next year, you're not completely up the creek without a paddle. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's options. I'm not dabbling in a quarterback unless I feel that dude's a top 10 guy. If I feel he's a top 10 quarterback in 2 years, that's one thing. That's a completely different story. If you can't sell me on that, and if I hear one disclaimer, that's it. Like, no, he's off our board. He's off our board in the top 10.
No, I agree. And I mean, but you look at next year's quarterbacks too. And I mean, like, I'm thinking all the two people that come to my head is Sam Howell and Keaton Clevis or Slevis or whatever the hell his name is from USC. Those are like the first two people that come to my head. And like, none of those are really like, I don't think any of those people are better than the guys in the draft this year. So like I said, I 110% agree that if you don't, you have to fall in love with someone, but I feel that way on both sides. You have to either be in love with Hurts if you're going to move forward with him and you make that decision, or you're in love with somebody in the draft. I feel like you have to be on one of those sides.
Well, I want to say this to
hey,
Joe.
I didn't see it, man. Can you do me a favor and repost it?
I want to say this to Joe. I don't think you have to be in love with Jalen Hurts because of him being a second-round pick and he's already on the roster. And, I mean, if he stinks, he stinks. But at the end of the day, you still are going to be – I mean, Howie at that point is going to be graded off his first-round pick. And whether that guy – whether it's an offensive lineman, wide receiver, cornerback does well, he's going to be graded off that. At the end of the day, you're still taking a second-round talent and letting it go. So I don't think you have to be in love with Jalen Hurts. You can say, he's there for the time being.
Right.
But there's no.
Hey, Mike, do me a favor real quick before you finish your point. While you're finishing your point, will you pull up Mearslat 617 comments? That way it's the 6:17 p.m. one where he's talking about Malik Cunningham.
It's up.
Okay, thank you. All right, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. But I believe to draft a quarterback, you got to be in love because you got to be Jalen Hurts and more. You can't have him being even close to Jalen Hurts. And my take always comes back to this. There's going to be quarterbacks coming out next year. And if you listen, the way the tea leaves fell, the way that we went out and got Jalen Hurts instead of supporting Carson Wentz, whether it was Carson Wentz being a crybaby or not, it happened. He's gone, and that was the start of it. So you put yourself out on a limb by getting Jalen Hurts in the second round. You gotta rock with it. To me, and the sense is that a Trey Lance or a Justin Fields ain't gonna help the other problems of the Eagles. So I believe you need to go with him just to see. And here's the thing. We talked about this. I don't know if we talked about this in the beginning or we talked about it backstage, but I was and Joe made a great point that what if you are not great, but you're not horrible, only winning 3 or 4 games where you're that 8-8 team and you're stuck in the middle. Here's my take. If we lose early or we see Jalen Hurts is not the guy early, because you can still project trajectory. Look at this. Deshaun Watson and the Texans only won 4 games. But the dude had a great season. It was the lack of coaches who got fired. It was the lack of run game. It was the lack of defense. It was the lack of everything. But he still had a good thing. You can tell he's a good quarterback.
I'll tell you what you do, Mike. You ready? This is what you do in that situation. So you're 4-4, right? You're 4-4, and you start to doubt that if Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy, right?
You start moving pieces.
I'll tell you how you resolve this problem right now. You go sign Nate Sudfeld and you start him for the rest of the season.
There you go.
obviously you're not winning any more games.
But my thing too is like, look, when you get to that point where you're in the middle of the season and you're saying, all right, we're just going to get rid of everybody, you start losing value. Like other teams see what you're trying to do, like, especially us. I think that's starting to happen, especially with Howie. People aren't, he's not that wizard of trades anymore. So people are going to see where we're at and what we're trying to do, and it's not going to be.
But I want to say this though: if we are moving pieces, people who are competing for a championship are still going to be out. There's always 6 or 7 teams that have a chance for a Lombardi. When you're at the midway point, you have these five teams have a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and you still got 5 teams competing in the trade talks. That's where we will still have the leverage. Well, you want them, so does the other 4 teams. All right. So here's my thing though: if you legitly know, and I think the guy in the corner down there, my guy Jalen Hurts, number 2, he's gonna be okay. But if he does do bad and you realize, well, we didn't take a quarterback this year. We went in on Hurts. We don't like it. There's quarterbacks coming up. We might have, what is Indy doing? Oh, they're winning. We might have 2 first-round picks. Let's start doing what Miami did. Now, Miami did it and still kept winning. But what you do is this, Fletcher, you got to go. This guy. You start moving pieces where you're not legitly tanking, but you're taking away from the roster, hoping that you lose and you gain picks. So that means if Hurts doesn't ruffle your feathers, let's keep it Eagles, in 2021, then you take a quarterback. But if you take a quarterback right now, everything we did was just ugly. You know what I mean? It makes the Hurts pick uglier. It makes the deal in Carson uglier. It makes Howie, even though he's already uglier, even uglier. Like it's just a bad taste. If you go quarterback now, it's like, who's running things?
So here's what I would say, Mike. I don't think that, like, this is how I view the situation. And I could be wrong, but this is how I view it. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to be bad in this system because I think the system is very quarterback friendly. Like, even Jacoby Brissett played okay in this system. Like, Jalen Hurts may not be a top 12 quarterback. I don't know. We'll have to see how things shake out with him in his career. I'm an NC State guy. I'm going to tell you right now, Jalen Hurts is better than Jacoby Brissett. Like, I got no doubt about that. I had no doubt about
saying that.
Like, and watch, Jacoby's going to hit me up on Twitter like, how dare you say that?
I thought we was cool, man.
Yeah. You were supposed to be my boy, bro. So, in that sense, Mike, like, I think it's going to come down to, like, it's going to be I think it's going to at least be average offensively. That doesn't mean the record's going to be average because I have no clue what to expect from the defense. But I think offensively, like, what you have to look at is you have to analyze, can he make a special play when you need the special play, right? That's what it's going to come down to me. Like, can he go start making, like, it's easy to high-low a defender. Right, high-low defender. Think about a flood concept, guys. Right, Doug Randall's all the time. Think of the sail route concept. Right, where you're releasing a guy into the flats, you're releasing another guy. That's
my Madden play. That's my Madden play too.
A little over 12 yards, and you got a vertical concept. You're flooding one side of the field, and you're high-lowing a defender. So the cornerback, you want to see if he plays the deep guy or the short guy, and then you just ditch the ball off to where he doesn't play. Right, something like that. Right. Jalen Hurts can do those things. I have no doubt that Jalen Hurts can do that. I would even say that Jalen Hurts gives you the ability to where if you're high-lowing a guy, the guy takes the high guy, the dump off is only going to net you 3 yards. I think Jalen Hurts has the ability to then tuck the ball and take off and get you 10 yards anyways. So, like, those things I don't doubt about Jalen Hurts. It's more so you're in a one-step drop or a 0-step drop, right? You got the ball, it's RPO. Now I got a defined read. It ain't there. Now I need you to go to your second read. I need you to come back from one side of the field to the other side of the field, get to your third read and get the ball there. That's what he has to prove. That's what we're waiting on him for him to prove right now. When you need a special play, can he make the special play to get the conversion? Can he get the special play in the red zone to get you into the end zone, right? Can he make those plays? That's really what it's going to be about. Ian Cunningham question, Mearslat. Not Ian Cunningham. My bad, man. Malik Cunningham. My bad, man. Malik Cunningham, yes, there's some very obvious similarities. He's not, in some ways, I mean, he could be even more. The dude's crazy on the scramble drill. The dude's crazy. Early on in Malik Cunningham's career, they said he was already a better prospect at the quarterback position than Lamar Jackson. I don't know that he's got. I don't know that it's going to translate though, man. Like I think he's another risky guy, to be honest with you. Lamar Jackson is kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, how long did it take us to get a guy that we thought, I think, you know, to Michael Vick's credit, I think later in Michael Vick's career, Michael Vick actually started to become more of a complete quarterback. But
Correct.
Michael Vick was just special when he scrambled, and look how long it took to get another guy that kind of capability, right? It took quite some years for that to happen again. I don't know that Malik Cunningham's going to be that, but I mean, every guy deserves a chance. It's just hard, man, because that Louisville team, I think it's got a good coaching staff, but I don't know that it's recruiting the type of players it needs to really be successful. And like college football is so much about like what division are you playing in, who are your opponents, and like what is your talent level. So I mean, it's hard to scout some of these guys like that.
Real quick,
Jalen hit me up with a question too about quarterbacks. Kyle Trask, big arm, very physically gifted. He looks like Carson Wentz from a physical standpoint. He's played in the system. Brian Johnson runs a system in Florida that was very similar. I know it's not really Brian Johnson's system, but there were some similarities there. I don't know where I would put him yet, though, man. Like I thought he was a second round pick. I've seen some people dropping to the third round. I think once this dude has a pro day and lets a ball rip, he's a second rounder. I think that if you take him in the second round, way up top, unless you're trading back into the second round with those third round picks, man, I think that would really, I think you're putting yourself in a situation, because if you're Jalen Hurts and they're drafting a dude that high, like, are you really sitting there thinking like they got confidence in me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Jalen's that soft though. Jalen.
I don't think he is either, but I mean, at the end of the day, man, you don't want to mess with the quarterback's mind. Let's not do it. Like we've had enough issues with it, like, because it starts sending the wrong messages. Like,
yeah,
if you
just saw how bad it could blow up in our faces, let's not do it again.
Like, because even if he's mentally strong, when it comes around for him signing that second contract, do you think he's going to be like, you know what, this team believes in me? Or is he going to be like, you know what, maybe I'll take my talents to a team that believes to me, which is going to force us into the whole, it's going to force us into the entire Dak Prescott situation of tagging a player. And that's not where we want to be. Like, correct. That's not good. It also can destroy your locker room. Why invite that crap in again?
Correct, because you're always going to have.
Yeah, even if Jalen handles, how do we know the rest of the locker room will?
Exactly.
I think this whole new generation of football players is damn soft. And people, you're like, come on, we used to have, what's Holmes' name? Iron Man Chuck. Who was the dude that made that last tackle in 1960? That man played 48 minutes on both sides and made the last game-winning tackle. And now
Kalen,
some competition.
Kalen, let me tackle this. You said that Jalen ain't worried about competition. He's built different than other quarterbacks. Remind me again, didn't he transfer?
That's different. Come on.
Is it totally different. Is it though?
That is totally different. You're comparing a man. You're comparing a young kid trying to get a chance to go to the NFL to a man making $100 million.
Joe, how many years? Joe, are we 10 years removed? Are we 10 years removed from that situation now? Are we 10 years removed from that situation?
10 years from what?
From when he transferred.
No. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
You're acting like this was a kid that was like, 10 years ago, he was just a child. Like, no, we're talking about 5 years ago.
Hey, wait.
He stood there for a year. So, like, let me for his position.
Let me say my take on that. I kind of side with Joe in the sense of this. What you do in college is to get your name out there for the NFL. So I believe without contracts being in college, you're like, you know what? He beat me. I stayed there a year. I think at that point, there was no such thing as a quarterback competition. It was like we won the championship with Tua. He's the guy. So I believe the only reason I'm giving Jalen any type of credit for moving is because he did it to try to better his name for his career. In the NFL, once you get to the NFL, if you do it, it's a little different. Now, I mean, Mike,
stop for a second. How is that any different?
Because he's not making any money.
If I believe I can start for another football team and I'm going to ride the bench at another place, how's that any different?
Well, no. To me, it's different because, listen, you play college ball to get to the NFL. And without showing
I'm not disagreeing with his decision. I'm just saying we're not going to sit here and act like he didn't run from competition. He did.
He did.
He didn't, though. He didn't.
He did. But again, I think it's different where it's like, look, like, here's my thing. I think Nick Saban said Tua won the championship. There's no such thing as competition. You can't show me anything, Jalen, that is going to take me away from a championship quarterback. And I would only give him the benefit of the doubt. And I do believe, listen, I'm a competitor. I want compete. Iron sharpens iron. But I only will say this. You do everything in college to get to the pros. And every time you go out on the field as a backup, it's taken away from you getting drafted. And so if he stayed there and lost, he might never get drafted. But once you get drafted, now you're drafted.
But my point is, you can't sit here and say that Jalen doesn't run from competition. Yes, he does. Any quarterback.
If this was different, if Carson would have done this, in year
I'm not buying
before he signed his contract,
he still ran.
No,
whether
he
it
did
was
not.
right, whether it was still the right.
So if you knew,
he tucked tail and ran. He tucked tail from Tua.
Okay. So if you knew that going somewhere else before you had a job, you're not getting paid. You signed to. Technically, these people play to go to pay to go to contract. College, right? You go to college to get a career in something. You get told that you're no longer going to be able to be on the track to do that. You go take your other options. Like he went.
If I'm a starting quarterback in the NFL,
Kyle Trask,
and I get beat out, but I feel that there are 31 NFL teams, 31 other NFL teams, and one of those 31 will want me to play for them. How is it any different?
How is it any different? $100 million contract. You make that decision before you sign the contract. Before I decide to say yes, I want to be your face of your franchise. You decide you don't want to be the face of that franchise.
I'm going to give you the incredible, crazy example. Did Tom Brady run from Michigan?
And he got picked in the 7th round. So, like, what? I don't know.
He got picked in the 6th round. But what does that matter? Did he run from the competition? Did he run from the competition?
Hold on. Gate. Did he also send Jimmy Garoppolo out? That was him telling Robert Kraft, get him out of here. I don't want Jimmy Garoppolo behind me.
Come on, man.
Right. I agree, Mike. But what I'm saying is
running from competition.
You can't tell me. But you cannot tell me that Jalen has never run from competition, nor would he ever run for competition. You're right. If your job as a starter is threatened, you're running from the competition if you feel like you can start on another team. That is a nonsense that people keep bringing up.
Correct. Listen, Gate. The exact definition of running from competition is what Jalen did. The reason I give him a pass for that is because he ran for his future, in the sense that if I can't show you I can play quarterback, most likely I can't be a quarterback. So once you make your dream, you're like, I'm drafted. I signed a contract. That's what you still got to be hungry and you still got to eat. But if I'm very talented and somebody don't believe in me and they're not letting me show it, it's, to me, again,
I completely understand that, but it doesn't get to the heart of the point. He had competition. He lost. He transferred. I'm not disagreeing with his decision to do so. I'm saying you can't sit here with this nonsense perspective that he's never run from competition.
But you just heard what you said. You said he had competition, he lost, and then he left. That's literally what you just said.
Oh, so
he didn't run from competition. He lost the competition and went to a different school.
He stayed on for a whole year, right? So the thing that Joe's saying is that Carson didn't even
fight,
win or lose. He just said, "I'm out before the decision is made." So Jalen tried, he lost, and then he quit. But it is what it is. It's over. Shout out to my guy, our guy, Jalen.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Because if we're going to sit here and state this, then let's open it up, because to me, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. Jalen will do the same exact thing Carson did if he believes in himself and believes he can start somewhere else if he loses a competition.
I think everybody will do it.
Yeah, that's different.
You guys are telling me this straight statement that if this guy has a competition, like he's deemed the starter, right? He starts struggling in the season. They bench him. Another guy comes in, plays a handful of games, and it's up in the air, right? Just like we're in the situation right now. We don't know if the guy will be Great. We don't know if the guy will be good. We don't know anything, right? But the coaching staff says, hey, here's the deal, Jalen. We don't know if you're going to be the guy or not. We're going to have an open competition, blah, 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 blah. And there's another team. His agent comes to Jalen and says, hey, here's the deal, man. This team right here will name you the starter. You don't think he's going to go to the front office and do the same exact thing?
Yeah, probably. But look.
So what is their point? A nonsense point. It's a nonsense.
It's not that you're making a whole different situation. You're saying if he loses a competition to another quarterback, would he leave? Yes, he would. I would too. If I lost my job, I would go find another job. But would he want to fight for his job? Yes, I do think.
What Joe is saying is this. What Joe is saying that anybody who loses will leave. Carson didn't win or lose. He left before the match happened. It's like, I didn't get beat up in the fight. I just never showed up. So it is what it is.
Mike, but look at it from another perspective of Carson Wentz. If you're dating a girl, right? You're dating a girl and she comes up to you and says, you know what? I've been seeing this other guy, but I don't want to, I'm going to make a decision. And then you say to her like, yo, with all due respect, deuces, somebody else wants me. To me, that's the same situation as Carson Wentz. Hey, you know what? Look, we got this other guy in here. We want to kind of play this out. We want to see how it goes. You know what? Another team wants me. Deuces out.
But Gate. What if it's a drunken night and you want some? You know what? No, I'm just kidding. Let me stop. Look, at the end of the day, look. Yeah, we can spin the narrative a bunch of ways. We'll just start by saying this. We'll see how Jalen mindset is going forward, whether it's a winner mentality, a loser mentality. Listen, the Philadelphia media will eat you up and chew you out. I don't even know how to say that word. Anyways, let's see how he handles as a quarterback, as a starting quarterback. Because Gate, I will give you this: it's easy to be the guy showing potential when you're trying to be the guy. It's different once you are the guy.
Quarterback in Philadelphia than to be the man.
Correct.
Look, I'm not knocking Oklahoma. I'm not knocking Alabama. Those are huge stadiums with huge followings. At the end of the day, that is Oklahoma. That is Alabama. It is not Philadelphia.
Correct. See,
it's as different as North Dakota is to Philly.
Correct. Jalen Hurts is going to be put in the fire because the Philadelphia media, the Philadelphia fans expect greatness. And again, I agree with both you guys in your sentiment of Jalen Hurts. I just think when you're auditioning for a job, you just want as much time showing you can do the job. Once you get the job, it's a whole different scenario. That's my take. I do agree. At the end of the day, Jalen Hurts couldn't beat out another quarterback who's actually struggling in the NFL. Yeah. So let's take it for what it is.
I'm not faulting for the decision, because you would be incredibly stupid if you think that you can play, given the fact there's millions of dollars, not to go somewhere else. I'm not faulting him for that, but I'm just saying people's perspective of like, oh, well, he's never ran from competition. He did, but there were extenuating circumstances, just like with Carson Wentz. Yes, he ran from the competition. There were extenuating circumstances to it.
Agree.
I respectfully agree to disagree. That's just how I feel. I have a very unpopular opinion on Wentz. So it is what it is. I'm used to it.
Shout out to another Jalen Williamson. Steve is out here destroying people's little world. And shout out to my guy Victory with the $5 super chat. He said, "Could Hurts get us?" Here we go. This is the last time we're going to do this because it's a super chat, and then we're done. Could Hurts get his starting position back from Tua if he stayed in Alabama? Yes or no? I say no, for the simple fact that once you win a championship with a team, there's no contract. It's college. It's different than the NFL. You do not change something if it's not broken. So I believe he couldn't beat him back for it because it is what it is. What did y'all take? And then we move on. For real.
Say no. I'll make it quick. No, he wouldn't have got it back.
No, what is your take, Gate? No, he's not. Look, guys, no, he wasn't going to get it back there. He had way too much to go through. I think he ended up in the right situation. Look, Nick Saban's a good coach when it comes to getting top star recruits into a program, identifying coaches, but I feel like he went to the right place to develop. I don't know that he would have ever developed into anything close to what he did in Oklahoma. Like, to be straightforward about it.
That's a fact.
Yeah, again, and we're going to get done with the Jalen Hurts college talk. But like I said, I do see both points because at the end of the day, he transferred. I just think it's only reason I think it's different is because it's not, again, it doesn't matter. Anyways, Jalen Williams with the $2 super chat, he said also, it's not fair shake based on the optics.
It's not a fair shake based on the optics, how it looks. Well, how does what look?
It is what it is. Hey, so look, let me ask you guys this. Let's get to some draft talk real quick. I know we talked about that earlier, and we've been alive for an hour and 25 minutes. I don't know how much longer we're gonna go, but shout out to everybody. We got 297 people in here. Once again, you're like, Mike is lying again. I see the chat differently. No, we are live on 2 platforms. We are live on the Philly Talk podcast and my guy Gate City Sports Channel YouTube page. So listen, wherever you're watching, we ask you one thing: smash the like button for us so we can push it out to other Philly fans who can come in and talk negative about us. I'm just kidding. Smash the like button. It's easy. It's free. Don't cost a thing. We greatly appreciate it. That's all we ask. We love you guys. Appreciate you guys. But let's talk some draft talk because I think that's the next thing coming up. We got on the quarterback situation because it was a super chat. But listen, is there one guy that you are just 100% hoping the Eagles draft? Or are you still watching tape thinking like, I could see, I like these 2 guys. I don't know where I'm at. Maybe move back. Are you guys dead set? Like, I want this guy. That's it. Or are you guys still thinking about it? Because we still got a month.
Yeah. You want to go first, Joe?
There's not really any. I mean, there's a couple people I would like. I think there's like a handful of people I wouldn't be mad at this point. Honestly, I'm kind of on the train of just trading back. I think there's a lot of holes that need to be filled, and I think there's a lot of good players in this draft, especially defensively, and I think that's where we need to go. But if we stay at 6, I'm between probably like a Jamar Chase. I'm not really on the Kyle Pitts train like you guys are just yet. Maybe give me a little bit of time. Give me a little bit of time. I'm still watching. But I like Jamar Chase. I really like Micah Parsons. I've been said that.
You're a Penn State fan though. That doesn't
exactly. Count. I mean, but he's good. He's really good. That dude I think he is a top 10 prospect. I think it's just his, all these stories about him might kind of ruin that. But I like Micah Parsons. I like Jamar Chase. I wouldn't be mad at a Devontae Smith. I wouldn't be mad at a Penny Sewell. I think there's a lot of different ways we can go that I wouldn't be mad at, but realistically, I'd rather just trade back. I think we'd get way more value out of just trading back. Not too far, but pick up like an extra second, move back a couple picks, like 5 or 6 picks. I'm cool with that.
Gate, you got a guy you're dead set on, or you're still evaluating? Like, I know what the Eagles would do is different than what you would do, but you don't got a guy that you're like, you cannot take him, and I think we're gonna get him.
I mean, me personally, man, it's tough because on one hand, do I have any faith that this organization would sign a guy to a second contract? That's my problem with taking skill position players. Who's going to give you your biggest bang for your buck, though? Like either an offensive lineman that is legit and can completely shift the dynamics across your offensive line, right? Or a defensive player that can come in and be a stud, right? Wide receiver. Yeah, I mean, we could use one. Like, let's be real. Like, I like some of the talent we have here, but if you can upgrade, you should upgrade. We can upgrade there. There's just no doubt about being able to upgrade there. If I'm sitting there and if Jamar Chase is still on the board, I think Jamar Chase, even though, like I said, guys, is he a yak guy? Yes. It's the way he got his yak that was mostly off of vertical concepts. He's not quite getting it the same way that the scheme would be structured. So there's some adjustment to that. But the thing is Jamar Chase is such a special talent that if he's not running something crazy like a low 4.6, because there's been some rumors that he's not going to put up a very good time. Yeah. But you look at guys like Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, these guys aren't burners. They can separate quickly in their routes. They can get you off the line. So if he can do that, he can create the separation. He's got that massive frame to throw to. He's a big target to to get the ball out to. Like, he can make life easier, man. I know this system. The one thing I can tell you right now is that this system is going to speed things up. I love Kyle Pitts. I don't know how long Kyle Pitts is going to last on the board. I'm not thrilled about taking that guy at 6. I'd want to get back in front of Dallas, in front of New York to get, I wouldn't necessarily go out of the top 10, but I would get back if I could if I was going to make that pick, if that makes sense.
So what number would you move back to? Realistically, what would you move back to, and what do you think you can get from it?
Like, it's tough to say, like, what number would you move back to? Because, like, it takes two parties to trade. You know what I'm saying? Like,
agree.
You know what I mean? Like you got to consider, why would anyone trade up? It's either going to be for an offensive lineman or it's going to be for a quarterback, right?
Correct.
So who's the quarterback? Who might be trading up? I mean, San Francisco, would it be
Carolina's at 8?
Carolina's at 8. Yes, Carolina at 8. If it's Carolina at 8, I'd absolutely do it. Somebody,
what do you think we can get?
Going to be on the board that's good, and we're going to gain picks.
You know what, Carolina strikes me as a team that might take that shot on Mac Jones. They might be the team that ruins everything in this draft.
At number 8,
honest.
You think they'll do it at 8?
I think they might trade back. They might. Matt Rule loved that guy. Matt Rule was gushing over that guy. Apparently at the Senior Bowl. So
who?
Mac Jones. Who?
Oh,
Mac Jones. Who? Mac? Yeah, I've heard they were gushing over him. Like I said, I don't think it will happen, but I was doing my mock draft with all the creators, and we always ask, like, what's the one thing you're afraid of? And he was like, we keep hearing that he loves him some Mac Jones. So I don't think it'll happen, but that could ruin the whole draft.
to me, it's going to depend. I almost hope that, like, I don't know, man, like Kyle Pitts, like, I don't know, stubs a toe or something and doesn't put up the 40 time that everyone's anticipating he's going to run. Because if that dude gets below a 4.5,
yeah, it's
if you want him, you got to take him at 6, and he might not make it to 6, to be quite honest. It's tough, man, because, like, I don't want to take the third best offensive lineman at 6.
Nah, heck no.
Like, at that point, get back and get more picks, guys. Get back and get more picks. If you're sitting there and Pitts is off the board, Chase is off the board, I will say this about Devontae Smith. I don't know what his measurements are outside of the wingspan and stuff. The dude's got almost a 79-inch wingspan. I don't know what his height is because he wouldn't take the measurements. We don't know what his weight is. He wouldn't take the measurements because he feels like that's nonsense. And if he can shake people off the line, it's not a big deal.
Exactly.
Just give me a playmaker, man. I just want a playmaker.
Realistically, though, if we get to number 6 and all those playmakers are gone, that might be the best thing for us, because that means that a lot of quarterbacks didn't go, and a lot of people are going to be ringing that hotline bling. So maybe that'll be best for us.
Real quick,
I have questions though, like Surtain. I like Surtain when he's covering anything 15 yards and under. He sticks in receivers' hip pockets. He's really good. Man, did you see what got done to him by Kyle Pitts, bro? My God, that guy does not have the dynamicism to take someone on a vertical route one-on-one. Now, I will say this. Like, judging the defensive scheme from Gannon and these guys, it looks like they're going to play a lot of too high safety. So it's probably not going to be a lot of times where you have to do that. So he might be a perfect, scheme fit, because anything underneath, he's going to stick you. Anything over the top, he's going to have safety help. But, man, like, everyone thinks that, like, oh, there's all these players and none of these guys can be bust if you just take this. Like, man, there's worries by every guy. Yeah, Devontae Smith is 170 pounds if you soak him with the hose and then make him go get on the scale. Like,
he's doing amazing.
Jamar Chase might put up a 4.6. He might put up a 4.6, man. We don't even know. Like, Kyle Pitts, you're still talking about a hybrid tight end, a tight end wide receiver kind of hybrid. Like, you look at a guy like Patrick Surtain, like, the dude got schooled by a lot of guys on vertical routes. He could not go with dynamic athletes. Like, there's no, like, perfect answer, man. Trey Lance, you go take a quarterback. Trey Lance, I just said he's the biggest risk in the draft. He could be the dude. I mean, that guy might be the best player that comes off the board when we look back 5 years from now. He could also be one of the laughing things that everyone goes like, what were people thinking? It's hard to say with Trey Lance, man. You got 1 year to analyze him. I wouldn't put money up. I personally would not put money up when it comes to Trey Lance, because I don't have enough to go off of.
And you know what else? You know what else? We got this guy drafting. That's
the thing too. Like, I think everybody maybe not agrees on this, but I think the smartest thing would be to trade back right now, because we do have so many, but we don't trust the guys that are making those decisions. So I'd rather have my guy pick from like 6 people than have him pick from like 32. You know what I'm saying? Like once we get down to like number 20, I get really nervous about his decision making. Like top 6, we might be okay. It might be a little harder to miss, you know? But, yeah.
So let me ask you guys a question. They moved Jannard Avery out to linebacker, right? This staff, I don't know if you guys caught that, but the coaching staff spoke up and said they hate the depth at linebacker and they don't like how undersized we are. We trade back with Carolina. We're sitting at 8. Does Parsons now become a reality?
Yes, at there it does. Well, let me just get these super chats out the way real quick. Kevin Bacon, I know we're still talking about that, but we're going to acknowledge it. We got far off that, which is good. Best for all parties. Kevin Bacon with the 499 super chat. He said the job was handed to Wentz as a rookie. When he came back off injury, the job was his. 2019, they mailed Foles' butt up out of there. Hey, shout out to you, Kevin Bacon. We know you. We know Kevin Bacon's a loyal subscriber to all of us. I know he's heavy in the comment section. We know where my guy stands. Philly Fan D, another one. 299 super chat. He says you can also say college can't trade. We agree, but now that Gate just brought up the linebacker spot, I agree. I think if you move back to an 8, guys like Surtain and Micah Parsons become more of a reality in the sense that I think 6 is a little bit too high. And you're like, well, what's the difference between 6 and 8? It's 2 or 3 impact players. It's 2 impact players different. It's a big difference. It can change your whole board. But what I want to ask you guys, because you guys are both talking about possibly moving back, what would be the furthest you move back, knowing that once you get out of a certain area, it's more of a bus factor. I mean, there's more of a bus factor, especially with Howie Roseman picking. So how far will you be willing to move back? Like Gates said, it's hard to just guess a number because you need both parties to agree. You need one party to want to come up to get somebody. They need that Kyle Pitts tight end. They need that something. So teams that need a tight end normally are a team that's contending. Like if you are a team that's not going to get to the playoffs, you don't want a tight end. You need offensive line and defense, most likely, or a quarterback.
We know if there's contending teams that need a tight end. I know a guy.
We might be able to hook you up.
We can hook you up. I know a guy, but Gate, how far back would you be willing to go before it gets risky?
Here's the thing. I wouldn't go 14 maybe. At the most. Here's the thing, like, what am I getting in return? Like, am I going to get a crap ton of picks for moving back? Like, is somebody so desperate that they'll trade above the trade value chart? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they that desperate for a player? Then, yeah, maybe I would, just because, like, I don't know, man. Like, let me ask you a question. Waddle. Should Waddle be giving way more consideration than he's been getting as a wide receiver?
Talent-wise, yes, but I'm scared of the injury, especially with Philadelphia.
Yeah, come on, man. Eventually, we're going to get back to the green juice smoothies. And I don't know, bro. I don't know what's going on with the injuries, man. I feel you on that one because, it's kind of like, haven't we learned our lessons with injured players? I get it. But what about, like, Caleb Farley? Like, look at the talent level that Caleb Farley is, right? The dude had a non-contact ACL injury.
Scary.
Like, I hate the draft, bro. I hate the draft. I hate the draft.
The furthest I'd go back is probably 15. Is probably the New England Patriots, and the only reason I say that number is because I feel like, oh, there we go. The only reason I say that is because it's actually probably realistic. Like, they could probably find themselves in a position that they really need a quarterback, or they really fall in love with somebody, and they can try and move up. So, like, that would probably be the furthest I'd want to go back. Like he said, it would have to be a very nice deal. You would definitely have to pay up a little bit. I don't know about 2 1s. Probably give me a bunch of picks this year and we good. Like, they got their second this year? Give me your first this year, your second this year, maybe like a 4th or 5th. I would be cool with that. I think that's fair. I would do that.
Let me ask you this real quick then.
So you guys are in Pennsylvania. What is going on with Parsons and the character concern stuff? What did he do?
They hate him.
Why is this now popping up? Well, we know why it's now popping up, but I mean, like, how legit is it? How legit is this, or is this just character assassination? Because I don't get Penn State coverage out here. Like,
only thing that I know is true is the whole. I don't know if I can say this on your channel, but he said he would do a certain thing and he used the name of Joe Sandusky to someone. Like he said, I'm going to Sandusky you. He said that to a freshman. So that's the only thing that I know for a fact actually happened. Verbally, he said that. He didn't actually do it. It was like a form of hazing, which is illegal or against, campus laws and stuff like that. Other than that, it's a lot of like
he said it's not a big deal, but I mean, like that's not like what it made it sound like it was.
Exactly. I mean, there are other reports, but a lot of it is just like this person heard that. That's my guy. Y'all not gonna sit here and slander my guy. No, realistically, I think a lot of it is just like it's timing. You know what I'm saying? Why did the video of that offensive lineman smoking come out when it did? Because it's timing.
Yeah.
Like
it's timing.
People want to say,
oh yeah,
he definitely messed up.
Remember that,
Larry Tunsil,
he
Tunsil,
definitely
right?
has made mistakes.
Yeah.
Tunsil?
Yeah.
He probably shouldn't have used those. He probably shouldn't have said this Sandusky thing. Yeah, that's probably not the best choice of words, especially given where you're playing. A little overblown.
Especially
I don't think that. I don't think that would personally. I don't think that would deter me from drafting him. If that's all it is, like whatever. Like I'll talk to him one-on-one and be like, "Yo, man, don't say no crazy crap."
Don't
like
say that again.
Yeah, exactly. Grow up. I think which he will, and that was. I want to say. I could be 100% wrong. I want to say that was 2018, not 2019 when we won the Big East, our Big Ten, excuse me. I'm originally from Connecticut. That's why I said Big East. But when we won the Big Ten,
if we do not improve this defense, I don't care if Jalen Hurts balls and starts putting up 30 points a game. Our opponents are going to put up 31.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
Hey, real quick though, I want to go back circle. I want to read Kevin Bacon's thing, but I got a question for you, Joe. He said for a king's ransom, 15 is legit. He said two first and a second. But Joe, you said you will be willing to go back to 15. That's probably the farthest you will go. Who do you think would still be on the board at 15 that the Eagles can take, also get the extra pick, and feel pretty good about the draft?
I think at 15, you're still going to be looking at one of the 5 wide receivers. I feel like whether it's Jamar falls all the way down or something. 5? No, because I'm going to put Jalen Waddle in there, and I'm going to put I know there's like a lot. There's a 5th wide receiver to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be what's his name, Rondell Moore from Purdue, whether it be this guy, that guy, I'm sure there's a 5th guy to somebody. So I'll be open to that. So, and I do think that it's a pretty deep wide receiver draft. They're not going to be a top 10 player. Obviously, you're not in the top 10. I personally want to go defense. I think that defensively, you'd be able to get maybe a cornerback, maybe a linebacker, maybe somebody that falls to 15 on defense, I think is really where you'll go. Or you can scratch that itch, Howie, and go ahead and get you a defensive lineman that makes more sense at that position. So that, or even an offensive lineman, it opens it up.
Do you love any of these defensive linemen? I'm not in love with. I like some of them. Like don't get me wrong. I still think there are a couple of guys that can play. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know that they're the same level of talent and matched with their production that we've seen in previous drafts. That's my problem. Like both of the guys from Miami are good football players. The one dude's got a serious concussion issue. And he might be the first defensive lineman, I should say, taken. That Phillips.
You're talking about Roche? Or Phillips? Right. See, I was going to say, I feel like both of them have, because with me, Roche is all potential. I feel like Roche is all like, you can't teach his size and speed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You can't teach his athleticism, I guess. So he's all potential. Like you said, the other
Mario Williams without the length of time playing.
Exactly. And he has even less, like you said, he has that 1 year.
Not saying physically, guys. Mario Williams was like 280, but in terms of like how crazy he was in college, like he's Mario Williams.
Or like a Deion Jordan. Deion Jordan might be a even better, like more recent type guy. But like
wasn't it Cameron Wake that was like running with like the skill position players and crap?
Yeah.
Like he's that kind of. Yeah.
But that doesn't translate. That doesn't always translate. So, I mean, but I personally, if I'm back there, I'm looking at the cornerbacks, looking at people like Caleb Farley, looking at J.C. Horn, maybe if people think he's a first rounder. I'm on the fence. I'm not saying I don't want to like give 100%. This is how I feel about anyone because it could change at any moment for me. I feel like I haven't done enough research to give you like, this is
Yeah, but Joe, I would agree that if we do go back to 15, I'm looking more of them corners. I'm looking more on them corners because 15, you know, the Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith is gone. The Penny Swole's gone. Maybe even Micah Parsons is gone. And now I'm looking, and maybe even Surtain's gone. And I'm looking at, you know,
JT.
the Horns, the Farleys. Is Waddle still there? Do you really want to go like a Terrence Marshall or a Tylan Wallace, who's a good receiver, but like you don't want to get
not at 15.
No, I know. What I'm saying is you don't want to reach. What I'm saying is you don't want to reach for a position of need that is not 15th worthy. You know what I mean? Like first round wide receiver worthy, you're only going to get that at 6. Once you move back, I feel like wide receivers off the board because now you're reaching is what I'm trying to say. And so I think you go, and I think the Farleys or the Horns will be there. And that's what I think you can take. Shout out to my guy, Philly Fresh, real quick. Shout out to Philly Fresh in the building. Hey,
yeah, he sent you a super chat, bro. You missed him.
Fresh did a super chat?
Yeah. Yeah.
When?
Oh, that's grimy, bro.
No, he didn't.
He did, man. I swear to God. He did.
Show me.
I'm trying to find it.
He definitely didn't, bro.
You sure?
No,
I'm pretty sure he did, man. I think he did.
No, the last super chat was Kevin Bacon, $1.99. And now we just got another one from Philly Fan D. On yours.
I'm trying to scroll up, bro. This thing taking forever, man. Y'all throwing in some comments, bro. Good God.
Hey, Fresh.
Oh,
Fresh.
he did. Hey, Fresh. If we missed it, if you super chatted, we missed it. We apologize, bro. I thought he did, though, Mike. Fiorucci. Maybe we did. Maybe I read Philly and thought it was Philly Fresh. I don't know.
There you go. But shout out to Philly Fan D. Said, could we trade our first for a second, then get a second and a first next year? We could have 3 first rounds next year. I think that's a risk, bro. Like I don't like going too far deep because you don't know exactly what's going to be there at the draft and stuff like that. What is y'all take on that?
That's a lot of money too.
Yeah, I'm okay with trading.
First rounders get paid.
I'm all right with trading back and acquiring more picks, but I wouldn't completely trade out of the first round. And mind you, this is Gate City talking. Who, when we do our mock drafts, I might pick before the end of April. Like,
yeah,
I trade back, bro. I believe in trading back.
Yo, I forgot. Yo, how many times did you trade back last year's one that you did? Hey, your draft came out really good.
Times. Huh? I traded like 5 times, man.
That I would love to do that if one of us was making a pick.
Entire NFL, bro.
Yeah, Gate, you gotta be friendly every NFL GM. You're like, hey, let's do business. Hey, how about you? Let's do business. Hey, let's you do business. We all do business on some Oprah Winfrey stuff. You know what I mean? But shout out to my guy Philly Fresh. I would have felt bad if we missed him. He didn't. But listen, real quick, we got 292 people in here. We are live on 2 different platforms. Gate City Sports Channel and the Philly Talk Podcast, wherever you are watching it. No matter who you support, wherever you're watching it, do us a favor, smash the like button. It's easy, it's free, don't cost a thing. And my guy, Philly Fresco, he has a channel. It's kind of close to mine. Just add an extra Philly and take out the talk. You know what I mean? The Philly Talk Podcast, it's Philly the podcast. So take out the talk, put the extra Philly in there. Go watch a video. The dude does more live streams than anybody on YouTube. The dude, I don't think he actually drops videos anymore. It's just all live streams every day. You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah, no, we have fun, man. We have some good guests and everything. We had D-Gun on last week. That was pretty fun.
Facts. Yeah, he had Derek Gunn. That's good stuff. Go ahead, take that one.
Evil Eagle. I haven't watched any film on him outside of like happenstance of watching film on other guys. Do me a favor, Evil Eagle. Either hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, or just comment on one of my videos. And just like, yo, Gate, do me a favor. Do a video on this dude. Break down some film for me, and I'll do it for you. Just got to remind me.
Yeah, like I said, listen, we've been going an hour and 49 minutes. When me and Gate get on here, especially when Fresh is here, time is not important no more. Like we forget about our families, we forget about everything. We just all Eagles. You know, I know me and Gate be getting text messages from our significant other, like, "Are you done?" I just got one, and I just act like I ignore them. Hopefully she's not watching because sometimes she listens when she texts just to see if I'm talking about her.
Man, there was one time I told her we were going to be an hour, bro. It was like 5 hours in, man. I had to tell y'all don't, if I don't upload a video tomorrow, call the police. File a
you say report. You say I do live streams all the time. You guys go like for 5, 6. I remember the first time coming on a live stream with y'all. I was like looking at y'all like, damn, y'all know it's 3 hours in, right? Like, y'all still going like we just started. Yeah, I salute to y'all. I do them in intervals. I do my hour and a half, and then I get off. You guys get it all in at once. I respect it.
Appreciate the super chat, my guy. I gave you a wrench, actually. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. You got a wrench, my guy. Joey Z, what's good, man? Surtain or Parsons at 6. Then wide receiver in the second. I don't hate it so far, man. Could get Bateman or Terrence Marshall in the second. There's a lot of guys you can get in the second. This draft is pretty deep in wide receivers. It is.
Yeah. For a second round pick, you feel comfortable doing it too. Them guys.
Although I would say for like Parsons or Surtain, like if they pick them at 6, I'll live with it. But I would much rather get that pick moving back, acquiring more picks, and then still be able to get a Parsons or a Surtain. I don't know why I said it like an English person.
Hey, Mr. Eliminator, I got you with the wrench, my guy, as well. But listen, like I said, so
before you go on, hold on. I've been on this channel like 3 times now. I think this is my 3rd time, and I don't even have a wrench. I just realized that when I was going into your live this early. I was like, yeah, I've been on this channel. You've been on my channel a couple times. You got a wrench on my lives. I don't even got a wrench on your live. All
right. Well, look,
that's great.
We'll do two things. One, I'm gonna give you a wrench, but it's also.
Hang on, Mike. Hang on. We got to negotiate this. Hang on. It takes 5. It takes 5 guest appearances to get a wrench.
Hey, but also I'm gonna say this though. When my guy Philly the podcast got to 1K, he thanked everybody except me. Man. Bro, he was like, Gate City, thank you. Philly Fresh, thank you. LB 500, and he was like, I guess I'm not gonna say Philly Mike because our names are too close. He just left me out. So I got you with a wrench, my guy, but it's all good. Listen, yeah, like I said, we've been going an hour and 51. Let's do a solid 2 hours and call it a day. So we got 9 minutes.
2 hours. We still got an hour left to debate on Hurts. What you talking about?
You're right. Hey, Gate,
we go down that train. We're gonna be here till midnight, man. Nah,
let him know what your Twitter handle is.
Twiddle. So my Twiddle.
Yeah.
I don't even know, bro. At Heiter Steve. HEITTERSTEVE. There may be an N on that. I don't know because I'm the world's worst at social media.
There you go. I seen you starting to get a little bit more active on it. A little bit.
I was trying to. For some of you guys that think I'm a Carson Wentz homer, I was purposely trying to anger Carson Wentz on coming to the channel and defending himself. I don't know if some of you guys on Twitter noticed that I kept adding Carson Wentz and I was throwing up his numbers. I was trying to get him to come on and explain it, but yeah, he didn't even say hey.
He didn't even say leave me alone. That's what you got to do though. Sometimes
hey, shout out to Kaylon. Shout out to Kay Jenkins. He said I could talk about Hurts all night too, Gates. And shout out to my guy Philly Fresh. Look what he said. He said I should come on so we can go 2 more hours. And honestly, if Fresh came on, he'd be the engine of the BBP, and he'll keep us going. I mean, no matter what we think, next you know, we look back like, wow, we're going on 3-4 hours. Here we go.
Well, the last time they informed me that, I don't know, I guess I was like trying to keep up with the comments, and I didn't even realize that Mike I didn't know that Mike and Reese got into an argument until they were like into the argument for 45 minutes.
Hey, that's one thing that's missing. And hey, we did a good job. Listen, normally me and Fresh get into some type of brotherly love argument, but instead of me and Fresh doing it, it was Gate City and Philly Fresco. The whole Jalen thing.
Hey, it's not a Battlebirds podcast if there's not a disagreement on something.
Yeah, it gotta be. It's not a Philly Eagles fans debate if it's not a disagreement. I mean, that's just how it goes, man. And like I said, I know I'm mad unpopular with my opinion. People just like throw tomatoes at me when I'm going live, so it is what it is.
Tomatoes at you.
But at the end of the day, no matter what, we all, it's all love at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But listen, we got about 6 more minutes. Let me ask you guys something. Give us one player that is not being mentioned that you think legitly has a chance not to be here in 2021 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Somebody, not the Alshon Jeffries and the people that we know, the Malik Jacksons with this restructured contract. Give me somebody that you think no one else thinks is going to be gone, that will be gone. And as Gate City said earlier in this one, it don't have to be in the offseason. It could be before the trade deadline. Somebody either in the offseason or before the trade deadline that is going to be gone that nobody thinks.
How much time do we got, Mike? Because I got a list.
I know. I'm talking about one. Give us like a sleeper. So someone says, huh? You really think he could be gone? And explain why. Go ahead, Gate. Since you got a list, let you go first.
All right. So you want like a surprise reaction one?
A decently mild surprise.
I'll give you one. This one already caused a lot of controversy on one of my videos. Comment section. So I'll already say it right now. Surprise movement. At the cut down to the 53, Lane Johnson is traded.
Stole mine, but go ahead.
I was actually going to say that. That sucks.
You should have texted me who yours was. I got like 100
Does it have to be a player?
He's all trying to
Howie
trade.
Roseman is traded.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I was about to say, does it have to be a player? Because, I mean, shit. Now, honestly, since you didn't say him, I don't know how much of a surprise it would be at this point, but we would save a boatload of cash if we were to get rid of Fletcher Cox. I don't necessarily want it to happen. It's not the first thing I want to see happen, but it is a move that could make a lot of sense for this organization if we're a bad team this year. So, like I said, I don't know how much of a shock it would be for some people. I think it would suck for a lot of people, but I think he's definitely a name to kind of look at because he definitely could be on the chopping block. Yeah.
Trade deadline. A team that is contending that needs an elite defensive lineman. If we are not looking like we're going anywhere near the playoffs, I could see that one.
Yeah.
And I look at it this way, guys. Hang on, Mike, before you go. I look at it this way, so y'all don't try to kill us. We love these players, guys. I'm a huge Fletcher Cox fan. I am a huge Lane Johnson fan. My perspective on this is, why would I make them suffer through 2 or 3 years of complete mediocrity when they can go somewhere else and contend late in their careers? I don't want to waste the little bit of football life they got left.
I agree. And then, again, the Lane Johnson pick that my guy Gate said it. And, again, I was going to pick him, but I know Gate – listen, me and Gate talked for an hour earlier today, like around 1, almost an hour or whatever it was. And we ran off a couple names, and I knew he had a bunch of them. I just didn't think he was going to say Lane this time. I thought I was going to get the Lane job, but Paul, this is cool. As the chat is saying, I'm going to agree. Brandon Graham is somebody, and I think Brandon Graham could actually be let go before the trade deadline, just if he's not really feeling the restructure.
Oof. Ouch, man.
18 mil. He's getting paid a lot of money.
BG is my guy. Bro.
Mike, I think he's a candidate to restructure.
I agree, but I'm saying
I think you could take a lot of his base salary, convert that into per game roster bonus, like next year and the following year, then he's just done after the season. But yeah, you're right, man. I mean, nobody's safe. The dude's 33, 34.
Yeah, to your point, his base salary, I think, is 12 mil exactly, 12 and like 5 and some change. So yeah. You're 100% right. We could figure that out, stretch that money out, and save us a good $6-7 million off just that. But 18 million is a big cap hit. That's a big cap hit for somebody that don't got 10 sacks. I'll tell you that much.
Man,
I love the guy.
The dude had like 6 sacks by week 4. I was like, he's about to get a double digit.
And then he just, man, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
He was on.
You want me to read off the full list here, Mike, of guys that, hang on, let me find the page.
Oh, wait, real quick. Philly Fresh came in with the McLoad. Hey, whatever happened to Trelly? What was his name? Trelly? Remember the guy who made fun of you with the McLoad, the Ronnie McLeod McLoad joke?
Oh, yeah, McLoad. Yeah.
But
I don't know.
He's been gone from YouTube.
I don't know, man. Some folks they go disappearing, bro.
There you go. But go ahead.
I ain't got nothing to do with it. Hang on. Let me explain that. I ain't got nothing to do with nobody's disappearance. All right. Let me start off by saying this, guys. Carson Wentz. I would be shocked if we don't learn that as part of the stipulation for Carson Wentz to be traded. he didn't agree to renegotiate his contract. If we do not renegotiate his contract, and the only thing we get back is a third-round pick this year and a potential first-round pick the following year, but at least a guaranteed second, and we're only getting $850 back, I got a problem with that. We need to get several million back from Carson. They need to renegotiate that before he's traded. Like, I'm hoping that happens because obviously Indianapolis would be in favor of that happening because that's less money they got to take on. I'll give you some other guys. We said Fletch. I definitely agree. Lane Johnson, I definitely agree. Brandon Brooks, definitely agree. Derek Barnett may or may not survive. Derek Barnett's $10 million of pure cap savings. They could say that we're light on defensive line and say, like, look, man, you're going to have to like take a $2 or $3 million contract. And he might say, nah. It's possible.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Young guys, or not young guys, but guys that we just signed last year. Darius Slay.
Hargrave.
Darius Slay, he's not safe.
I think
Javon
Hargrave would go.
Javon Hargraves, he's not safe. Like, they're not safe. But I will say this. You don't have to trade some of these guys. You can walk back Brandon Graham. You can walk back Darius Slay. You can walk back Javon Hargraves' contract because those dudes really don't have any guaranteed money following this season. So I
think Darius Slay would be more of a next year move because this year I think post June we only save like $500K. If I'm not mistaken, I think I was reading it earlier.
I can look it up.
Yeah,
I think pre-June 1st would be like $6 million, and then post would be like $500. But I know next year was like almost past $10 million, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I could be wrong. I can't remember.
Sorry, guys, I'm losing my voice. I think Darius Slay would be an option to take some of that $12 million and convert it into per game roster bonuses and save you some cap this year.
Hey, let's stop talking. Hey, we can't be talking bad about Darius Slay. He be liking my Twitter posts.
Nah, believe it or not,
he be liking them. So bro, stop it.
If you trade Darius Slay, it's a $6 million savings.
$6 million.
If you trade him,
yeah. If you trade him.
So when it's in the red brackets, that means that it's like a positive. I thought that would be negative.
No, if it's in the brackets, that means you're losing it.
You're losing it.
Okay. Because I thought I saw it like in the red bracket, so I thought that meant.
Yeah. So if you cut him
new every day, you know.
Yeah. If you cut him, so if you cut him, you'll lose $6 million. But if you trade him, you gain $6 million. It's probably something very specific to his contract, Joe. I think it's the same exact situation with Javon Hargraves, to where like if you cut him, you lose $7 million. If you trade him, you save $5.4 million.
Hey, but Gate,
see, now I know what you mean now. Okay.
I would say this: if we do have to cheapen up the defense, you got to start with the pretty stacked defensive line before you touch the very fragile secondary. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, look, I'm not saying that every guy's going to get traded. Like, but I'm just saying, like, you got to look at it from the other team's perspective. Who do we have that has value? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know, but what I'm saying is because of how short in our secondary is, how thin it is. I think you got to try to cut bigger money on a D line before cutting them. Because, like, who do we like? Are we going to be able to field a secondary? Like, I mean, is Jalen Mills an option to really come back? Not because he's good, because he might sign just because
I think it's a possibility.
Green.
I think it's a possibility. I think it's very much a possibility.
Real quick, shout out to my guy, Mad Funk Watkins with the $24.99 super chat. Appreciate you, my guy. Hey, just viewing and liking is enough for me, but I appreciate you, my guy. He said, how about Christian Darrisaw or Rashawn Slater on the offensive line? Gate, I'll let you take that first since you probably know more about them players. I know a little bit more about Slater than I do about the other guy. What's your take on them?
Okay, I'll Jalen. He's gonna kill me in the comment section here. All right. Darrisaw. Darrisaw is a very athletic kid, young man, whatever you want to call him. He is definitely a zone scheme guy. They use him a lot on kind of like pulling and stuff like that. Probably could play inside or outside, to be quite honest. He could be a tackle or a guard, basically. I probably have him as my third. I probably have Rashawn Slater above him. Slater, probably I'd say in like late January, there was some momentum for Slater being like up there with Sewell. I don't know. I think it's kind of stalled a little bit, but
what pushed it? What stopped him from getting that hype?
Well, I mean, I think some of it has to do with the program. You know what I mean? He's just not playing at a huge program, to be honest. Some of it, I think, is that, you know, you watch a game or two of a guy and you feel good, and then you make those comments, and then you watch other film and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, let me back off this a little bit. You know what I mean? You see one or two where he had like really good reps against certain guys, and then you go watch more film and you're like, oh, I should have chilled a little bit on that comment because he got taken to school over here. I don't know. I mean, I would go Slater personally. Slater would be my number 2. Darrisaw would be my number 3. I leaked the mock draft where they had the Eagles taking Darrisaw at 6, and I was like, I like the player. I hate the value. I hate that value. That is a really bad value. Now, I know that Jalen's going to kill me in the comment and be like, what are you talking about, Gate?
No, hold up. I want to ask Joe on this question too, but we still haven't hashed it out about Jalen Williams being the ex-offensive lineman, a guy we bring on the channel. I love his intake, but listen, Jalen Williams, we talked about it, and then I wanted him to elaborate before I said it, but he said Penny Sewell, whatever his name is, he said he is not a top 10 talent.
Look, I'll defer to Jalen on that just because Jalen understands line play a lot better than I do.
I agree.
Look, I know it. I can break down film on it. I can scout guys, but Jalen knows line play the way I know quarterback play. So, I mean, if he's saying that, I'm going to trust his judgment because I have nothing to refute it. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing in particular I could say that would refute that other than, I guess the only thing I would refute is to say that this draft is not that great in many places. So I don't know. I don't know that I can name 9 other players that are better, if that makes sense.
Jalen also said that overall. Jalen said that, I saw him say it in the comment earlier. He said about this draft overall is probably like a C+, B+. And when it comes to talent, like not saying one specific grouping of players, he said as an overall. I don't know where you fall on that and all that, but hey, Joe, do you like any of them 2 linemen that my guy said in the super chat?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of this. It's not to be boring, but I'm kind of the same exact place you are. I do like Rashawn Slater though. I think him and Penny Sewell are a lot closer than people give them credit for. I think Penny Sewell's very, very athletic, and I don't want to say raw because he does have the footwork. He is there. You know what I'm saying? He is a number 1 prospect for a reason. But I think there's things he needs to work on, just like Rashawn Slater needs to. If I was to I feel like if you made an offensive lineman on Madden, who really does that, you'd probably make something like Penny Sewell. Like Penny Sewell is the type of guy that's kind of fun to watch play at a lineman position, which is kind of rare to watch. But Rashawn Slater can get the job done. I think he can get the job done. But I do think he's, like I said, a very close second. I don't really think Darrisaw is like a top 10, top 15 pick to me. If we were to go with him, he would be somebody that we could talk about. If we, again, go back to number 15, that's somebody maybe we could talk about then. I would be pissed off if we took him in the top 10, depending on especially who's on the board. So, yeah, I mean, it's a boring answer, but I have to agree with Gate City on this one. I think it's 1, 2, 3 easily.
I'm gonna go even more boring. I agree with Gate and Joe in the sense that the only way we draft Slater is if we do move back, gain a couple picks, and then you're still trying to attack the offensive line, and you find yourself at 15, 16, kind of around where we got Dillard. The difference would be we're moving back to get him instead of moving up a pick or 2 to get Dillard.
I do like the idea of going and attacking the draft at a position of strength within the draft, because I do think that this is a fairly good. I'm not going to say it's like, oh, it's the best ever offensive, tackle draft. Like, no, that'd be an overstatement, but it's a good draft. It's a really good draft when it comes to offensive line play. I do like the strategy of like, hey man, you want to improve your football team offensively, solidify the offensive line more, get younger there, get top talent in. Hey, I agree, but I just like the dude that, and man, I'm hoping, like, my fear is one of these guys one day, like, they're gonna snap because I'm calling them out. But the dude that did that, mock draft, man, I was like, Darrisaw at 6, like, could you explain in the comments, like, hey, Darisaw, I mocked him there, but I'm assuming the Eagles are going to trade back. Like, I don't have him anywhere near a top 10 player. But
I had
I'll
Jimmy
give him this.
Kempsky on him. He had us taking a punter at 6, a defensive tackle in the 2nd round. His draft was all over the place.
Yeah,
like
that's
when I
not
asked him, I was like, so listen, like, but I was trying to be respectful and professional about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the man's been on TV, but I was like, can you explain to this to me? Because I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. So, like, I've seen some really weird mock drafts for the Eagles. It'll be very interesting. Hopefully, we don't take a kicker. Take Sarah Fuller from Vanderbilt.
Real quick. Shout out to my guy, Primetime Steven Joyce, with the $5 super chat. He said nothing because at this point, there's really nothing to say when you look at certain aspects because it's just a lot of unknown factor. But shout out to Mac. I want to ask you guys. Mac 10 said something. He said, "Do you think we draft a kicker? Of course, if we do, Fresco said earlier, just making a joke that." That's a Howie move, but if we do, it has to be later. But I think the Eagles try to find the diamond in the rough, like a practice squad guy, like a Jake Elliott, who then turns something. I don't see us drafting.
I'll say this: never say never. Never say never to anything because you really don't know. But I'll say this: if they draft a kicker, even in the 7th round, where they waste a pick, I'm going to be mad because it's not like we're honestly going to be able to move away from the contract on the kicker we have.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because it's a foolish contract,
gets better
locked in. It would just be a complete waste of a pick.
We might get a punter, though, because we don't have a punter right now. Yeah. Cameron Johnston is a free agent right now. So
they signed somebody. It was what's this kid's name?
Maybe they're gonna try and make Tyree Jackson a punter too.
Hey, real quick, shout out to Philly Fresh for he just said that his flight actually got delayed or it's tomorrow, so he could have came on with us if he does a live. Listen, we got 267 people still in here. I don't know where you're watching it because we are live on 2 different platforms, but wherever you're watching, if you love Eagles content 24/7, we not going 24/7, but our guy Philly Fresh will be doing a live stream, and maybe he does a call in. I don't want to just tell him he is or nothing, but my guy Philly Fresh is interested. So definitely go tune into Philly Fresh's live stream after this. But let me say this: Jalen Williams said Darisaw is physically gifted, but I question his attention and effort. He makes some blocks look effortless and then moves at his own pace. That's a good and bad thing. I question his ability to recover when he's beat. And one thing he said about Penny Sewell that I didn't bring up, he said that Penny Sewell, his athleticism or his effort covers up for his abilities or something like that. He says that, he's just physically gifted, that I think Jalen's saying at the next level, his fundamentals might get him in trouble. But he said that he also never watched nothing on Slater. So, and again, we all take Jalen Williams critique or info on offensive line seriously because he played the position and he knows what he's talking about. So, shout out to Jalen Williams.
Joe, Arian supposed I don't know how you say this dude's name. We signed this dude apparently at the beginning of the year. Concrete Gang 86, new member.
I like our punter. I'm hoping we keep him. I mean, I know that's a weird statement to make, but like Cam Johnston's the man, bro. That boy got a boot.
He does. He's got to get better at directional kicking now.
Directional kicking. I was gonna say the same thing. He got a boot. He got a boot, but there is a questionable. It's hard to say that he can get it. He's not a great at pinning the guy inside the 10. He can flip the script when you're deep in your territory. But listen, I love when a punter, you know how much that does for a football team. Like, look, punters don't get no credit. I agree. I mean, they're just kicking the ball. But do you know how demoralizing it is after a defense gets a nice stand, and then they kick it and they get it inside the 5? That helps a football team dramatically. That's pretty much saying, well, the ball's going to be back to ours in a little bit. It's demoralizing, and football's all about momentum. So punting the ball inside the 10 is legit a factor that we got to get better on in special teams. We need a better returner and a better guy kicking the ball.
Yeah, I mean,
field goals, that would help.
Jake Elliott, right?
I don't know
where are you guys at with Jake Elliott. Would you guys consider getting a new kicker, or would you ride him Jake Elliott one more year?
If we didn't have the contract issue.
Yeah, I don't think we really can.
You paid him, yeah.
I think he can be a good kicker. Like in the beginning of the year, to be 100% honest, I know hindsight is 2020 and he missed a lot of kicks. But like in the beginning of the year, I was just kind of like, why is Doug Peterson not putting him out there? Like I understand that that's all you do, but there is rhythm to that too. Like when you're consistently sitting on the sideline on 4th down, it got to mess with you at some point. Like at some point, it messes with your like you can't just be thrown out there after 40 minutes of standing around. So I thought that had something to do with it, but then he was just missing easy ass kicks, and it's like I don't know what the heck happened with him. I'm over it, but maybe we could get Camus Grugier-Hill back, and maybe he could kick for us. You know, he was kicking pretty damn good.
Wasn't much worse than
against Dallas. I mean, he knows the roster.
I don't know what they're going to do, man, in terms of some of these positions, because we need so many picks. We got so many players we got to get back. That's why I'm like really harping on this Carson Wentz point about, man, we need a return on investment from that contract. Like there's no way I would have let that guy walk without renegotiating that contract. That would have been number one priority for me to move you, is that, hey, man, you're going to have to renegotiate this for me. If you want out, this is how you're getting out. Like, I'm hoping they just haven't released the terms of everything yet. And as we get closer to the league date, the league year starting, they'll announce something like that. But I also feel like that we would have heard something by now too. So it's making me like kind of.
Yeah, he's already in Indy. I'm pretty sure this is it. I mean, if he got what he wanted and we got what we needed, then I'm cool with it. But if we just gave him what he wanted, I'm pissed. Like I'm not a Carson Wentz. I'm not a Philadelphia Carson Wentz fan. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. So, like, good for him. I'm glad he's in a better situation. But if we got screwed, we still got screwed. Like, I'm still going to be upset about that.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, if I don't know where you guys are believing that no other team was really interested in Carson Wentz, like fully, like my guy Gate City said earlier when we were talking about C-Dub. And hey, shout out to us. We went almost like an hour and 15 minutes without talking. We've been live for 2 hours and 16 minutes. Said we were going to get off 16 minutes ago. We lied. We did go a nice hour without talking about Carson Wentz. But yes, I didn't like the trade initially. But if you really look at it, like the guy didn't want to play for Philly. Maybe he would have came and played. Who knows? But if you look at it in the sense that no team really wanted him, then the leverage was all on the Colts side, and I'm surprised we got that if that is true. I just think that things snowballed so poorly with the leaks, whether it was leaked or actually Howie blowing smoke because he's a master manipulator. And as much as we love it, him spinning a narrative on the media. How can a player trust somebody that can spin the narrative that quickly? So it's like, I just don't know how long Howie's going to be here. And we haven't talked about Howie as much as we should be talking about him for the simple fact he's going to be in charge of the draft. He survived Andy Reid, Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson. He survived my grandkids' coaches probably. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to go RIP like, dang, Howie Roseman succeeded me. You know what I mean? I don't know. He's just never going to go or never going to die.
That is career goals right there. I'll tell you that much. I hope
that
comfortable somewhere.
Kavon Kellum. Man, if I'm butchering your guy's name, I apologize. Jalen Hurts' footwork. I don't really think Jalen Hurts has a bad footwork issue. I don't think that's where he needs improvement, really. I mean, you keep working at it, he could get better, but I mean, he doesn't overstride. He does a pretty good job of flipping his hips, getting his feet back set. I don't really have a problem with him there. I think every now and then he's got one of those telltale rookie things that you do, which is your shoulder tilt gets off, which causes you to be a little off when you throw. I think Jalen needs to spend more time understanding how to read defenses, understanding the progressions, getting into the playbook, and speeding that processing up. That's where Jalen Hurts needs to get better, man.
I pushed it back. I pushed it back.
Hey, the funny thing is, again, real quick, if wherever you guys are watching it, we still got 256 people in here on 2 platforms. Wherever you're watching it, smash the like button, subscribe to everybody on the panel, because at the end of the day, we all keep it pushing when it comes to Eagles content. And shout out to my guy, Philly Fresh, another guy that you must subscribe to. He gets it done. He gets it done. My Philly the podcast was supposed to go live at 8:00. I think when I hit him up earlier and I said we're gonna go live at 5. I didn't think he anticipated it almost running into his own live stream he had going by himself, which he's doing a live mock draft. So he's gonna take Michael Parsons. I can break the news to you already. He's a Penn State.
I'm gonna do all three. I'm gonna do three different scenarios. I'm gonna do one if we take a QB, do one if we take who I want, and we'll do one if we take who y'all want. But I mean, shout out to y'all too. Shout out to y'all too. You gotta do the fourth scenario,
Joe. You gotta do the fourth scenario. That's when Gate City's. That's where when Gate City's your GM and you just keep trading back.
Just trade back.
right. But shout out to y'all. While I got both of y'all here, good luck. Thank you very much. Good looking out for sending us those videos for the mock.
Really fresh. Reese and Mike were fuming that night when I kept trading back. They were like, "Yo, you got to pick eventually."
Yeah, because I'm like, bro.
I think I traded back like 3 times before I took a pick.
Yeah, Gates the king at negotiating, I guess. You know what I mean? He's just the trade back king. But all seriousness, like I said, man, you know, we put out the grind, putting out content, whether it's regular podcast episodes, going live. You know, we appreciate you guys all. The community for the Philadelphia Eagles content creators is the best in the business, man. The best in the business. You guys not only listen, and that's the thing. We come on here with a live stream talking about a topic, but we see the chat, and you guys definitely spin the narrative and take us different directions. And sometimes I give kudos because y'all takes in the chat sometimes be legitly hot. So shout out to you guys, 100%. I think 2 hours and 20 minutes in. You guys got much more? Like I said, we hit a lot of different things, and we're going to continue to do more streams because there's so much unknown factor when it comes to the coaching staff, Jalen Hurts' success or non-success, the draft, Howie Roseman. This season could be really ugly, or it could be like positive, not in a sense of us winning a Super Bowl, but us just going up in a trajectory. That's what I want to see. You know, you can only win 8 games or win 7 games, but still feel good about the team, where it's going. But that all starts in April when Howie Roseman says with the 6th pick, the Philadelphia Eagles, actually, they just give it away. They don't even want to pick nobody. He's too scared to pick somebody.
Hey, Kevin Bacon, this is just from 2 weeks.
This man got a book.
That's 2 weeks worth of notes, bro.
Hey, you know what, Gate? You know what you got to do to further your channel? You need to write a book. Get a book out. Publish a book.
Hey, I'm trying to get people, man. We need to build a website, guys. That's what we need to do.
I got one if y'all need, hey, let me know. I just built mine.
Yeah.
I built websites before, but I never did it here.
It's pretty easy, honestly. I thought it was a lot harder than it was. Watch a couple YouTube videos, take a couple free courses. You'll be building a website in no time. I literally just took like a whole night and just taught myself how to do it.
Yeah, it's not that hard. I mean, it's really not. I mean, even I learned how to do some basic HTML in like no time. It's really not that difficult.
No, not at all. You just got to. It just takes time, like anything.
Gate needs to be the new Eagles GM. Hey, listen, low key, Gate. Listen, I don't care what Gate says. Me and Gate actually talked about this on the phone. He was like, people think that he's a mole for the Eagles, that he actually has say and stuff. He might not have say, but somehow, some way, I don't like when Gate City talks about certain players when it's crunch time, because some reason that when he says something, whether it's negative or positive, the light gets shed on it, and it's funny. He has a way of putting out a video, whether it's pure luck or just great timing. He puts out a video, and whoop, there it is.
Yeah, I know, man. People were coming after me. They were swearing. They're like, "Yo, Gate works in the front office, bro. He's over here. He's a straight mole." I'm like, I don't work in the front office, bro. I would have a much nicer house. Are you kidding me?
Gate, go ahead, take that one.
All right. What's up, iShine, man? I want all opinions. Don't you guys think Philly media also played a part in this Carson mess? 1,000,000%. Destroying his stock. Some wonder why we didn't get 2 first-rounders. I don't think, to be fair, though, iShine, I don't think we were ever going to get 2 first-rounders for Carson unless you traded him after 2017. And even then, because you're coming off the ACL, you know what I mean? But I do think that you're right, and I think your overall point is spot on. That like it strategically it made no sense. Like, why would you sabotage a guy you're trying to move, talk him up, even though if you hate him? Like, you should be trying to create value, not destroy value. Like, I mean, clearly, look, man, clearly something happened between Carson Wentz and the media. He must have really rubbed some of the media members really the wrong way, because dude, they held nothing back and came after him. Still are coming after him. Like, something went on, bro. Something went on.
Yeah, I think they had, they had something to do with it, obviously. But I mean, they're always going to be like that. That's what media's job is. Like, It is what it is. I go to school for sportscasting. It's all about catchy titles. It's all about taglines. That's what they teach you to do. That's what their job is, and it is what it is.
But, hey, real quick, but Gunner told you on your own podcast that honesty is the way to go.
Derek Gunn. No, that's very true. We had a couple people on, and the overall theme is always to know who's reporting it and why they're reporting it. Everyone has some type of gain from what they put out. Derek Gunn, D Gunn even said it himself. There's a million stories that he's been told, but there's only certain ones that he'll put out. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you have to know, who you're getting your information from. If they work for the team, they're probably putting out information that the team wants you to know. If they don't work for the team, they probably have information that the team doesn't want you to know. It's just about knowing who works where and why they're saying what they're saying.
And that separates the D Guns from the Jeff McClain, the exactly. Jeff McBlame, the Jeff Insane. I don't know. I can go a long time on him, and I know Gate City don't really prefer his method of reporting, I should say.
I'm not a fan.
I like talking to all of them. I love all the people that bring in smoke. And if you hate, like, people hated Jimmy Kempski, and I was like, yeah, let me bring him on. Then I want to see how people feel right now.
Jalen, on the subject of becoming a regional scout again, I'm not going to say it's definitely happening, but I have had email exchanges with somebody to where that same school, I can't name them until something's official there, but it might happen, man. It's possible that it might happen. I'm not going to say it's 100%, but they did reach back out again, and I'm definitely interested in scouting for them.
Hey, real quick, shout out to my guy Eminem. He said Jeff McLame. That was good. I didn't say that one, but that was a good one. That's a good one. Like I said, we've been live for 2 hours and 27 minutes. I think my wife is ready to divorce me. I don't know, man. Shout out to you guys. Like I said, we keep it moving. Sad we couldn't have our guy Philly Fresh on here. Just another great Eagles content creator. Like I said, we still got 244 in the building. You know what I mean? Wherever you're watching it. Philly Talk Podcast, Gate City Sports Channel. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Stop listening without subscribing.
What's up, David? So, David, my mom, I don't know if my dad ever worked there. My mom worked at DuPont. She worked at DuPont Chemical. I don't know if my dad did. I'd have to ask him. The only place I knew, like when we lived in Delaware, my dad worked at like Acro Extrusion, something like that. It was like an extrusion company. But I have to ask him if he ever worked at DuPont. It's possible.
Yeah.
It's very possible, sir. It's very much possible.
So again, with that being said, do you guys got any finishing touches on this episode? 2 hour and 28 minutes. Go ahead, Joe. You got anything last? Go ahead, say your piece, your goodbye, a little last thing you want to get out there that you haven't been able to say, and definitely talk about your own podcast, your own channel. I mean,
yeah, just draft Micah Parsons now. Just expect the unexpected. That's the only thing I'm going to keep on preaching. I feel like we can go anywhere in this draft. Just be ready, and do your research, because I feel like a lot of people write off a lot of people in this draft because they hear things. This is the worst time to hear things because a lot of people do not know what is going on, especially beat writers. They aren't as close as they used to be. So do your own research, look up these guys, and feel comfortable about who we might get. Other than that, man, just come check out the podcast. We go live literally every day, 2 times a day. And I do regular videos as well. I do also do regular videos. But, yeah, we have a lot of fun, have a lot of good guests on. It's Philly, the podcast. Definitely check us out, man. I'm trying to hit 1,500, and we're very close. So shout out to you for having me on, Mike. I appreciate you.
Go ahead, Gate.
What's up, bro? You can't thank me, Joe? Dang, bro. Come on.
Exactly.
We got into an argument earlier. But you see how I did that, though, right? You see how I made sure I was like, thank you, Mike.
He's still mad about the Jalen Hurts stuff, bro.
We argued. I don't like you now.
Hey, but Gate. At the end of the day, he thanks me now because he's trying to make up for his legit. Thank you guys for 1,000 subs. I want to thank Gate City, Philly Press, 500. He didn't say me then though, so it's cool.
Yeah, he did do you pretty dirty on that one, bro. Oh man, like this is going to be a crazy draft, guys. I can look. I'll start. I'll end on this. Take this with a grain of salt, guys, because everything is something until it changes, right? But for over 30 years, we have only drafted 3 positions in the top 15 picks of the NFL draft: quarterback, offensive line, defensive line. This is not a great defensive line draft. It's not. I don't think you're going defensive line at 6 because that just feels like a crazy reach. If we go quarterback, man, like that's crazy. I can't see it, bro. Like it just how do you justify everything you've done with Jalen Hurts if you go quarterback? Like that would bother me. Offensive line, I still think it's a possibility, but I see the comments. A lot of you guys are like, well, what about Mulata? You got Dillard still there. Like, we can't figure out this Jack Driscoll. We can't figure out this offensive line stuff without drafting guys. Yeah, but if you can get a blue chip offensive lineman, I'd say go for it. So, I mean, that does leave us this question. Do you guys think we break 30 years of draft history and go outside of those 3 positions?
I do. I mean,
yes.
Keith Jackson was his name, right? In the 80s is the wide receiver we took.
Keith Jackson
and
before, he was a beast, man. Keith Jackson was
honestly, I have no idea who he is, but I knew that just because I looked it up before. That's literally like that was before I was born. I'm going to be 100% honest. But the only reason I knew that fact is because I looked it up because I wanted to argue with somebody that we weren't going to take a wide receiver. But like before him, it was a good like 20 years too. So I think at some point, it might be that blue moon.
Let me just say this to you guys though. Look, how many times in the last 30 years have the Eagles been inside the top 10? So like it might be a small sample size of picking in the top 10 because I don't think we are we're not the Giants. We don't live inside the top 10. You know what I mean? So I think you got to look at how many times we've been there. And once when you become a person picking in the top 10 picks, it's because something went completely wrong for your season. And so once you are that team that something went completely wrong, you have to rebuild from the ground up. And what do you pick from the ground up? Offensive line, defensive line, quarterback. They are the positions. Look, quarterback's the most important position. How do you keep them upright? Protecting them. How do you stop the other good quarterback? By sacking them. So the most important positions is the quarterback, the offensive line, and the defensive line. So what I'm trying to say is we haven't been that bad of an organization overall. I know we only got one Lombardi, it is what it is. But I don't know the answer to how many times we picked in the top 10. But what I will say is I don't think we're used to it, and hopefully we don't get used to it. But what I'm saying, so I don't really know what they'll do. But again, when you got to rebuild the whole team, you start from the foundation, which is the O-line and stuff like that. But depending on the retooling or rebuilding mindset people have, are we going to compete in a year or 2 or 5 years? And if your outlook on that is totally different, well, that's what makes your decision much more different. You don't take a quarterback if you feel like you still are 100% pieces worse, because you take that quarterback and you're not getting good until you got to pay him. And do you really know if he's good?
I'll say this, Mike.
Let me just say this one thing. Let me just say this one thing because I Shine Plate, he got at me a little bit. Shout out to that. He gave that earlier, but I didn't say my take on it, but I do agree. Media had some play in it, but definitely we were never getting 2 first rounders. Shout out to I Shine. I love you. Pause.
I love you.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say is that if the rebuild goes by fast, in large part, it will be due to number 2 in the corner or another guy stepping in. you know what I'm saying? It's got to be there. I think the fastest way for this team to be rebuilt is if Jalen Hurts turns out to be a top 12 quarterback. That's the fastest way to rebuild. I mean, because then you already got one of the largest questions you can have in football completely covered.
But I like how you picked 12. Hey, what made you pick 12? Why? What a weird number.
Because I look at it this way, man. You know, if you look at when I say 12, I'm basically alluding to like the upper third of the NFL.
Got you. I like it. Actually.
So I mean, like to me, do you think that? Like to me, I think he could be it. I mean, look, he's got a lot of development left, guys. Like I'm not saying that he's there. I'm not underneath that illusion at all, guys. I don't think he's anywhere near that yet. But there were small little moments where you saw that the reads were defined for him, and you gave him time to operate. Man, he killed teams. He's got a really nice touch on the ball. Jesus, pause. There's no way of saying some of these things that just do not come out wrong.
Hold on, wait. Does anybody in the chat know how many times Gates said pause? I know I said it.
It's got to be a drinking game at this point.
Hey, listen. That's a new game.
It doesn't come out where it could be wrong. It sounds really wrong. But look, he's got a nice. Jesus, even saying this sounds wrong. He's got a nice tight spiral on the football. Great touch to where he hits the open receiver, guys. Man, this could be taken so far out of context. If someone ever just recorded little clips and took it out of context, it would sound really bad. But I definitely think I think that there are moments where it's there, like you could see it. It's there. But the problem is you got to walk these things slowly because you can get fooled quickly. A guy to me, I'd rather have a dude that either is great or just burns out. We all know the great one, of course. But if a dude burns out fast, then you know it, right? The worst part is the guy that looks like he's got the talent, keeps getting almost there, but never gets it. Because then you hang on, you keep hanging on, you delay it, it goes on longer. It just, you know what I'm saying? Like then before you know it, 5-6 years have gone by and you're like, crap, we should have moved on 2 or 3 years ago.
That's for you, Gate.
What's up, William Stewart? I appreciate you becoming a member, buddy. Welcome to the community.
Definitely.
That's the thing, man. Like that's the way I look at it is like, can Jalen Hurts pull this freaking organization up? Let's be real. It ain't going to come from Howie. It's not going to come from Howie, guys. I'm sorry. This is not. I don't hate Howie. I made a video defending him. But I think if this organization is saved off of this draft alone, it's either because we found a star quarterback or Jalen Hurts becomes the star quarterback. Does that make sense? You guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's ultimately like it kind of comes into what I was saying. Like when you are that team that's picking in the top 10, you got to look at yourself in the mirror, and the mirror really only shows Howie Roseman. But when you look at yourself in the mirror, you say, dang, are we a bad football team overall? And right now, off the top of the dome, I think, the biggest concern is, can we stay healthy? Because let's look at some of the things that were horrible last year. Offensive line. That wasn't due to bad play. That's not due to players not doing what they need to do. That's due to injury. Receiver. No matter what you want to think about old man Alshon, old man Deshaun, they're both going to be off the team, but these guys can probably compete if they're healthy. Jalen Reagor, if they're healthy. Let's look at the tight end position. Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz were nicked up throughout the year. Let's look at the defensive position. Our slot corner was always hurt, from Cravion to Maddox to Nikel played most of it, but he had to play inside and outside. Let's look at Ronnie McLean. There were so many injuries that impact this team that honestly, we only won 4 games last year, but if we stay healthy, I'm not saying we're a Super Bowl team. No, we're not. Look at us. Just look at it. But what I'm saying is, if we stay healthy, can we double 4, make it 8? Can we win 9? Can we slip around and, you know what I mean? So I really don't know. Until this team is healthy, I don't know what we're working with, you know? And real quick, shout out to my guy, Concrete Green as well. I did give you a wrench, my guy. So what is your take overall when it comes to this football team is bad? We do have a lot of holes to fill, but in the senses of, bro, if we just stay a little healthier, can we win some games? Some.
We might be able to. I mean, we don't know what we have. Like you said, it's hard to evaluate your team when you don't know what your team is. So if we stick to maybe if we can keep our offensive line rotations in the single digits this year, I have a good feeling about what we could be. I mean, I think there's talent there. Like we've said about the offensive line, we're near elite when healthy. I think that's fair to say. I think we have a very good offensive line when healthy. That when has not happened very often, and I mean, we got a good team. So yes, I think we could be better. I think we can be a mid-tier team, like an 8-8 team. I think we can compete, and our division sucks. So it might be a 6 easy wins that you get. So who really knows? You know, we might be the new Washington. We might just randomly win this division by accident. So, you know, anything can happen.
What's your take to finish this out on just the fact that how do we assess a team that we just is not there?
All right, if it starts jumping and skipping, I'm sorry, guys. Look, you got to rebuild the entire roster, man. Hopefully, you make it quick. Hopefully, you make it quicker than it has to be. But you got to get younger. We got to get younger all across the board.
Younger,
yeah, he's got to get younger. We got to infuse talent. We need some blue chip players, man. We need Pro Bowlers on this team. You know what I'm saying? Like we need that kind of level of talent, and we haven't found it recently. It's been a long time. That's what I'll say. I will read this text that my wife sent me. She said, "My God, wrap it up, Steve. That poor man Joe has to go and do his own thing."
I feel so bad. I'm just chilling. That's hilarious, though.
Let me read mine now. He said, "There's 4 of them. Are you almost done? Soon. Okay, hurry. Soon. I need my son needs formula. Man, I'm a bad dad. We gotta go. We got to go. Hold up, bro. All right, let's get this out, and then we legitly out before there's legit problems. Shout out to iShine 101 with the 1999 super chat. He said, "We will draft differently, I guarantee. To be honest, we broke the record with the team's cap situation involving Carson equals 30 million dead money. So it's time for Howie to change the narrative. Get a linebacker or whatever. Golf had the record last." Yeah. I mean, shout out to iShine, and I love that guy to death. Pause once again. But go ahead and give y'all takes, and we legitly getting out. We out.
It's crazy. You know, I'll make it quick. It's crazy that Goff and Carson are 1 and 2 in that situation right now, and the 2 highest dead cap give ups or whatever you want to get. You know, it's crazy. That 2017 draft, man, one for the books. I mean, insane. I really ain't got much to say about that. That's just insane.
Go ahead, Gate.
I'm hoping we hear, like I said, guys, I'm still holding on to that last glimmer of hope that we're going to hear they renegotiate that contract as stipulation for the trade. I have nothing to believe that other than the fact of common sense says that you should have stipulated that for the trade. But if it happened, they're going to announce it in like a day and watch everyone's going to flood my account. I don't work for the office. I'm just using it as like, I mean, come on, guys. Like, look at it from a rational standpoint. Why would you let this dude out of the building without renegotiating that contract?
Correct.
I agree.
Like I said, everybody in here telling us to control our women. Listen, we're on for how many people go live for over 2.5 hours? So our women are definitely putting up with a lot of listen. It is what it is. Until next time, you guys know what time it is. We out. Peace. I appreciate you guys. Subscribe to all the channels, yo. For real. We out.